It's a chilly December morning here in Chocolate Town. Both the Bucks and the Jayhawks have traveled great distances to get here. Which one will hoist the 2A trophy? We find out next on PCN.
Today from Hershey Park Stadium, the Pennsylvania Cable Network presents the PIAA Class 2A Football Championship. This afternoon's matchup, the Dunmore Bucks and the Jeannette Jayhawks. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another day of championship football here on PCN. My name is Bob McCool. To my right, Steve Bowen, and to my left is Gary Sutton. Dunmore, the champions from District 2 at 14-1 on the season, taking on an unbeaten Jeannette Jayhawk team. They are 15-0 on the season. And Gary Sutton, when you take a look at this Dunmore Buck team, they may be small in enrollment, but in terms of physical stature, they are a big football team.
Well, they're hoping the Buck stops here today with Jeannette, and they're coming in here 14-1. They lost one game all year long. Jack Hensas, their coach, he is a legendary coach there. Has been in coaching 41 years, 37 of them at Dunmore, has won 317 games during that time, lost 141, tied 8. But he has got a giant job at his hands today, but he's also got a giant front line to help to do it with. A lot of muscle up there, and he's a guy who has been around the block a few times, and one of the people that's going to help to generate some real offense today, sophomore Mike Perry, who has run 265 times for 1,603 yards this year, 17 touchdowns, is averaging 6.1 yards a carry. This is a very balanced team. They can throw the ball as well. They've got 3 guys that have over 30 receptions. It's going to be a very balanced attack you're going to see this afternoon, and it's going to have to be pinpoint against a team that has really come in here motivated this year, Jeannette.
The Jeannette Jayhawks, the runners-up a season ago, and Steve Bowen, all they've done this season in 2007, they've scored more points than anybody else in the history of Pennsylvania high school football.
They have. There was a big sign that the players ran through. It said nothing personal, it's just business. Ray Ritz, the head coach, says it's unfinished business because they were disappointed with how last season ended. But this season is totally different, and this is a different Jeannette team. Now, everybody's giddy all across the state and all across the country about his star quarterback, Terrelle Pryor, the only player in WPIAL history to pass and rush for over 4,000 yards in his career. But he's more than that. He's become a real team leader. Last year, they were kind of here because they were more athletic than anybody else. This year, they're just pounding the heck out of people, and Pryor keys everything. They've got good running backs, they've got good receivers, but all eyes are going to be on number 11 this afternoon, including all the eyes of Dunmore, too, because if you want to stop Jeannette, you have to stop Terrelle Pryor. No one's done it so far this season.
And in the same time, Gary, I mean, Jack Hensas's been here for a long time. He's been a coach for 41 years, and he said, I've never seen anybody like Terrelle Pryor, and with good reason. No one's ever been quite like Terrelle Pryor. The best shot they have is to keep him somehow or another off the field. You can't keep him off the field because he plays defense, he plays special teams as well, but you got to keep the football out of his hands, otherwise they're going to put points on the board.
And I think one of the things you're pointing out here, Bob, is execute. The best defense today for Dunmore is going to be the clock and having the ball in their hands and making sure that they don't make mistakes with it. They're going to have to be pinpoint, on target today in everything that they do, and I really think the only hope they have on the other side defensively is to make sure you make Pryor try to throw to beat you all day and keep those feet from having to scramble. The worst thing that can happen is when he has to make up his mind to try to get out of a pocket, he is dangerous like no one you've ever seen.
He is a special football player, and we'll wait and see what happens this afternoon in the AA Championship. There you see where the two teams have made their way to Hershey, Pennsylvania for today's game. Dunmore out of Scranton, Pennsylvania in District 2. The Jeannette Jayhawks, the champions from the WPIAL, is just east of the city of Pittsburgh. As we'll take a break, we'll come back with the coin toss and get you set for the kickoff of the AA Championship game, Jeannette Jayhawks, the Dunmore Bucks, when we return on PCN.
This PIAA Sports Championship on PCN is underwritten in part by the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties. Everyday ABSCOF faculty and coaches of the 14 state system universities are making the difference in the lives of students. Committed, dedicated, that's ABSCOF, Pennsylvania's own state system faculty. ImaginePlastics.com. Visit their website at www.imagineplastics.com. ImaginePlastics.com. Cool careers. The Pennsylvania State Correction Officers Association. We patrol the toughest blocks in the state. Lenahan and Dempsey. The right choice when things go wrong. A generous gift from Jeff and Jan Weinmiller. And by GreenFansTheMovie.net. A movie for the fans, by the fans.
Jeannette and Dunmore are set to kick things off here on the AA Championship game. Day 2 of this weekend full of football here for you on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Steel High with a victory in the Class A Championship yesterday over Sarah Catholic. And then last night, the AAA Championship went to Thomas Jefferson with a victory over Garnet Valley. The AA game this afternoon, and then the Quad A game to finish off the weekend as we get set for the coin toss on the field between captains for Jeannette and for the Dunmore Bucks.
Dunmore Bucks head coach Jack Pences. For Jeannette, their captains, number 11, Terrelle Pryor, number 55, Adam Locke, number 77, Jason Markets. Head coach of the Jeannette Jayhawks, Ray Rich.
Okay, Dunmore will defer. Thanks. Jeannette will receive. Good luck.
So the decision rendered, and an interesting one. Jack Hensies and the Dunmore Bucks win the coin toss. They'll defer to the second half and say, we'll let Jeannette put their offense on the field first.
I think it's really interesting. I think he wants to take his defense out there and see what they're made of and say, can we stop Pryor and company right out of the gate and get a little momentum going defensively?
I think the other thing, too, is that there's been so much talk about this Jeannette team, and Dunmore's heard it, and they're probably sick of it. And I think this is a nice way of Hensies just saying, hey, guys, this is just a football team that we're playing against. We got 48 minutes. And, Gary, as you said, let's see what we can do defensively the first time out.
We will stand for the playing and singing of our national anthem.
Your hats as we honor the United States of America. Salute its leaders and members of the armed forces with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner to be sung today by East Juniata High School senior, Miss Sarah Brotzman. Ladies and gentlemen, with pride, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
A great crowd on hand this afternoon for this AA championship game. Waiting to see what Terrelle Pryor and company of the Jeannette Jayhawks are all about, perhaps. Jeannette, again, got to this championship game a season ago, lost a heartbreaker to Wilson area by a final score of 29-28. Our officials for today's game, Francis Snyder is our referee, the umpire, Larry French, linesman is David Reiner, the line judge is Charles Reeser, the field judge, Greg Harkins, the side judge, Phil Martin, and the back judge, Joe Klebon. And the Dunmore Bucks will kick off to Jeannette. As Gary said, Jack Hensey's the head coach for Dunmore. 41 years as a head coach. He is in the Pennsylvania State Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. 37 of those seasons at Dunmore, 317 wins, 141 losses, 8 ties. There is Jack Henzies. You know you've got to be a football coach for a long time. You've got 8 ties.
That's exactly right. Something that does not happen ever anymore. By the way, they're also kicking into the wind here as you look left or right on your screen. The wind actually coming back in Dunmore's face, right to left. So Jayhawks will have the ball and the wind to start the game. Dunmore will have some choices as we get ready to start the second half.
Sean Gilroy will kick off. The return men, Jordan Hall, Kenny Grant, and Terrelle Pryor in the middle of the two of them.
They tried an onside kick, and it didn't go far enough before it was touched. So it will be Jeannette ball at the 49 of Dunmore. Or will they re-kick it again?
They'll probably call a penalty, you would presume.
You're going to trot it back 5 down.
Back them up 5 yards. So perhaps that's part of the strategy for Jack Henzies and his coaching staff. And that's why they decided to kick off, was that they had the onside kick up their sleeve. There is Ray Ritz, the head coach for the Jeannette Jayhawks. It's his 3rd season as a head coach, 37-4 in those 3 years. He's been an assistant at Jeannette for a long time, 22 years before taking over the head coaching job for Jeannette.
And the ball was blown dead. So that's why it's the 5-yard penalty and they re-kick it.
So they back them up 5 yards. So we've not played a second of football, and we've got the game's first penalty. And so the Bucks will back up 5. And again, kicking into the wind, the return men now for Jeannette, moving up to the 15 and 20-yard line. Again, Terrelle Pryor in the middle of Jordan Hall and Kenny Grant back to return. And it's a squib kick this time that will be sat on by one of the up men for the Jayhawks. And falling on the football, Anthony Smolka falling on it at about the 40-yard line. And so that's where Terrelle Pryor and company will put the football in play. Again, Terrelle Pryor, as Steve Bowen said in our pregame show, has thrown and run for over 4,000 yards in his career. There is the starting lineup for the Jayhawks. Jordan Hall, James Derry, and Spino, along with Mosiah Harris. Brandon Barbish is the tight end. Adam Locke, Sammy Moore, Chris Hall, Matt Garbus, and Jason Marcus up front, protecting Terrelle Pryor and company. Kenny Grant also in the backfield for the Jayhawks as they'll run out of a space wing T style of offense. And the first carry for the Jayhawks is indeed Jordan Hall with a big hole, and the blocker's out in front of him, and he will go the distance for the touchdown. And Jordan Hall takes the direct snap and goes the distance.
An amazing offensive set as Pryor lined up and then went out in a slot. Jordan Hall came from his slot on the right side, took the direct snap, and just went right between the right guard and right tackle, and it was wide open. He went untouched.
But you're going to see the left guard, the left tackle pull out here, and that's what really creates it. And the play-action fake from Jordan Hall is going to set this up for the touchdown. And you can see who's leading out in front there is the big guy, Pryor, patting him on the helmet on the way in.
So coming on to attempt the extra point is John Staff, senior kicker. Up and splits the uprights. 11:48, just 12 seconds into the contest, and the Jeannette Jayhawks strike first, 7-0.
The drive was one play, and you know it's interesting. The hole. Now watch this hole. Take a look right here. You're going to see. Stop right there. You got both guard and the tackle pulling, and then you're going to have the ball fake right in here. Watch the play. Ball fake there, and then take a look at the hole right here. Whole way through, and you got nothing but daylight. And taking it to the house, and there's Pryor, his escort on the way in. And on the way in, he says, "Way to go, big fella." Look at the hole right there. You saw the pulling guard, pulling tackle, and you're looking at number 55, Adam Locke, and 77, Jason Marcus. And those two guys opened up a hole that absolutely easy to run through for the TD.
So if the strategy for the Dunmore Bucks was to kick off and say, let's put that offense on the field, well, strategy number 1 backfired. We go down to the field now, the 4th member of our broadcast team, and that is Mike Krause.
Bob, you had mentioned Dunmore's last appearance here in '89. They threw up 57 points on the board, and yet they hold the highest point total of all the PIAA finals. So they wanted to find out their defense. Jeannette averages 2 touchdowns per quarter, and they wanted to see how they measured up. Evidently, they learned a lesson in that first possession.
You know, Steve, pretty brilliant call. All week long, you've been hearing nothing but Terrelle Pryor, Terrelle Pryor, Terrelle Pryor. And the first play of the game, Terrelle Pryor not involved.
Well, and certainly he's the linchpin, and Ray Ritz calls him the X factor every time they play. But they got some other players too.
Not involved except it's a decoy that time to kick off here.
Mark Fortes on the return across the 30. Runs into his own man at the 35-yard line, but a good return for the Bucks. Taking it out just shy of the 40-yard line to the 39, and that's where Dunmore will start 1st and 10 under the direction of their quarterback, Miller Holmes. Very good football player. He's a junior, been starting since his first game as a freshman at Dunmore High School. The front five for the Bucks: Matt Jones is the center, the guards Mike McHale and Robert Hoover, the tackles Ryan Itutis and Justin Mitchell, the tight end is Pat Hart, wideouts J.J. Dempsey and Mark Fortes, the fullback is Tom DeLella, and the tailback Mike Perry, the sophomore 1,000-yard back for the Dunmore Bucks, starting from their own 39-yard line. And they will give it to the sophomore running back to start the football game with a great surge right up the middle. Perry just pushing forward. And the defense for the Jeannette Jayhawks. Up front, it's Jason Marcus, Montel Walker, and Chris Hall in a front three. The four linebackers, Jordan Hall, five linebackers, Kenny Grant, James Derry, Mike Matt, and Adam Locke. The corners, Cameron Baraji, Mosiah Harris, and Terrelle Pryor. We'll change that. Mike Matt is out of the game with an injury. So we'll get the change in starting lineup after a 6-yard gain for Dunmore to start the football game. It's 2nd and 4, and a penalty before the snap of the second play for the Dunmore Bucks.
Yeah, there was movement on the right side of the line just before the snap, and that causes the illegal procedure. All the talk about Pryor and the offense and the mercy ruling and everything.
I have a dead ball, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Lost in all that discussion is the fact that their defense has played
repeat second down,
has played lights out all season as well, giving up just 8 points a game. So heady task for Dunmore, but as we mentioned, if they can run the football, if they can control the line of scrimmage, that is certainly a card up in their favor.
2nd down and 9 after the procedure penalty called against the Bucks. There's a good look at Miller Holmes, their 5'11", 185-pound junior quarterback, as he will send Fortes in motion right to left. Perry, the lone back in the backfield, will get it on a toss sweep. Turns the corner, maybe picks up a yard or two, and that's it, to the 41-yard line. And it will bring up 3rd down and about 8.
Jordan Hall on the tackle that time for the Jayhawks.
You're talking about their defense. Only one time during their 9-game regular season schedule did the Jayhawks of Jeannette give up more than 7 points. Pretty incredible number right there alone, as you saw them very quick laterally along the line that time. One of the advantages that Dunmore does have in this game, they have a much bigger offensive line, especially when you have Ryan Itutis, 281, and Mitchell at 312 on the right-hand side, Jones on the left-hand side at 290.
3rd down and 8. Miller Holmes wants to throw the football for the first time, and the pass is caught. Completing the pass is to Kevin Spager. Spager into Jeannette territory before he's finally brought down inside the Jayhawk 40-yard line, down to about the 37.
Spager did a great job after he caught the football. He put on the little pivot move, and that freed him up from the pursuit coming up. A good for 22 yards and a big first down for Dunmore.
Just a simple down and out, man-to-man, and a great job at the end to finish off the play there. And on the move right now, the Dunmore Bucks.
First down of the football game for Dunmore, and the 20th reception of the season for Kevin Spager. And so now Dunmore has it in Jeannette territory at the 37-yard line. They'll go back to the power game of the sophomore running back Michael Perry, over 1,600 yards coming into this afternoon's contest. He plows it inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Pickup of about 4 on the play.
Been impressed so far with the motion of Miller Holmes. Might be the best pure-looking passer we've seen so far in the tournament.
Again, started as a 14-year-old freshman for Jack Henzies. Jack Henzies talking a little bit about that with before the football game with him today. He saw the talent coming on this football team, and he knew that he needed that linchpin that Miller Holmes would give him, and he has gone through some growing pains, but now as a 3-year starter, he is a very experienced and crafty quarterback. He gives it right back into the belly of a sophomore running back in Perry, finding ways to pick up yardage, going through traffic and taking it inside the 20-yard line down to about the 19.
Watch Robert Hoover, number 75, and number 33, the fullback, kick out here. Hoover, number 75, we'll see it here in a moment, and he is going to pull out and lay a block you can't believe. Now here he is, right there. He's coming over like that, and then kick it out, number 33 right in front as well, leading the way, and a beautiful run that time by Mike Perry.
Hoover at 200 pounds in there in replacement, so to speak, although he's played a lot this year for Jim Sabia. Their 6'5", 295-pound senior will start on defense, and we'll see some time on the offensive line, but he's been going through some back injury problems over the course of this playoff run. Perry gets it again with a hole run through. Inside the 15, inside the 10-yard line, and close to another first down for the Bucks.
Any of you that are ever thinking about playing fullback, Tom DeLella is going to show you right here what fullbacks get to do is to block for the running back. Here he is, stop right there. You got Tom DeLella right there, you nailed and opened up for a 5 to 6 yard burst. DeLella right here again, boom, off to the far side, and then opening up for Perry to get on through.
One of the keys was how well the big offensive line of Dunmore would do against this Jeannette defense. So far, so good. And they're doing it on both sides of the line, which you like to see. That means that they have confidence to run any of the running plays that they have in their arsenal.
They're also running the clock and keeping the ball in their hands, which you said they had to do.
And they give it to the fullback this time, getting through. Actually, they move Pat Hart from the tight end spot into the fullback spot. And Hart trying to bull his way inside to get that first down. And I believe they're going to mark him down short.
Actually, it's first and goal.
No, they did, Mark. They gave him to the 7-yard line. I apologize. It is first and goal to go at the 7-yard line. So the surge does get Pat Hart the first down. First and goal to go for the Dunmore Bucks at the Jeannette 7-yard line.
That was Pat Hart's only his 15th carry of the season to get that 1 yard. He's up to 60 now for the year. So what a big yard it was to keep the drive going.
Hart now shifts back to his typical tight end spot, lined up tight end left. I formation, the toss to Perry. Perry to the 5, to the 4. And it'll bring up second and goal.
DeLella again with another good block, number 33. You're going to hear his number called a lot this afternoon. The fullback leading the way for Perry out there. Opening up. Here's DeLella right here. Coming all across. You'll see that block here. Good block back here. Block on the inside there by number 60, McHale. And then the opening. Again, Dunmore having its way on the ground so far, Steve.
And Perry runs hard. He's been fun to watch so far.
He gained 20 pounds, lived in the weight room with those big offensive linemen, and they went from a 185-pound freshman a year ago to a 205-pound sophomore. 1,600-plus yards, as I said a moment ago, and so far 6 carries and 37 yards, as Dunmore will keep it on the ground, but the Jeannette Jayhawk defense this time is equal to the challenge, and they get nowhere.
This is a huge series for Dunmore in this game. I think if they could answer here, momentum unbelievable. Look, the hole opens up just for a second right there, but then it closes down quickly. And there's where the quickness of Jeannette's defense really reacting to get in there and snuff that hole.
Jason Marcus closing that hole, 5'11", 265-pound defensive end, getting the tackle at the 4-yard line. Third and goal to go now for the Bucks. 5:45 remaining in the first quarter. Again, Jeannette on the first play of the game goes 50-plus yards for a touchdown. Dunmore trying to respond. Play action fake, and Holmes going to keep it on a bootleg. Finds daylight, great cut, and a touchdown run. 4 yards from Miller Holmes on a quarterback keeper.
And Pat Hart got a great block on the outside that time to open it up.
Well, what you did there is you showed the play action that sucked Jeannette into the middle there. They're coming really hard up the middle and very aggressive. And then the bootleg play with the option to pass really finished it off. So the ball fake there to freeze everybody for a moment. Then round in the end, and no one was home because everybody got sucked in on the dive.
10 plays, 61 yards. As important, 6 minutes and 14 seconds off the clock.
Big extra point, up and good. 5:34 remaining first quarter. Jeannette scores in its first series. Dunmore scores on its first series. And we'll take a break, come back with more on the AA championship game. Jeannette 7, Dunmore 7.
Reaching, caring, inspiring, teaching. Every day, APSCUF faculty members of the 14 state system universities are making the difference in the lives of students.
What I get to do here is not just teach. Teaching is great, I love it, but you get to mentor. And mentoring to me means that at certain points, I'm explaining things, but I'm also listening and we're problem solving together.
Committed, dedicated, APSCUF, Pennsylvania's own state system faculty.
They've stormed beaches and freed countries. They've raised our flag and our hope. They've been called leathernecks, they've been called devil dogs. But above all, they're called Marines.
Minutes plus into the first quarter, and we've seen what both teams have done to get to this championship game. We've seen the explosiveness of Jeannette. We've seen the power and surge of the Dunmore Bucks.
Kind of what we talked about. Jeannette takes a half a minute. Dunmore takes half a quarter.
And some trouble on the kickoff, and Jeannette finally gets back and picks it up at the 2-yard line. It's Jordan Hall, the man that had the long touchdown run, trying to find something, and all he's going to find is a sea of white and red, and that's the Dunmore Bucks pinning him back at around the 5-yard line.
Well, Dunmore answered with the great 6-minute drive, and now they answer with a wonderful kickoff, and they get a break here, and so we'll see how Jeannette handles having it stuck in their face and then coming out here with the offense starting inside their own 5. And here's a Dunmore starting defense, and a big bunch they are. You can see them up front there go with a 4-4 look, or 4-3 look rather. They got 3 linebackers, Lukasic, McHale, Trada, really good ones. And then Enoch, Cortez, Hart, and Dempsey in the secondary, the cornerbacks and safeties.
First down and 10 from the 5-yard line for the Jeannette Jayhawks. And Terrelle Pryor this time is going to run the option. He'll keep it, and he'll get maybe a yard. Good open field tackle by the leader of that defense. That's the strong safety, Pat Hart.
And Pat Hart is going to be the shadow guy today all the time on Terrelle Pryor. Number 25, his only job is to find Pryor, and you see him right here. That's his job. Shadow Pryor everywhere he goes today, and I'm sure our cameras will keep an eye on that throughout the day. You'll see him. Nothing else to worry about but Pryor.
Second down and 9 after the 1-yard run for Terrelle Pryor. Pryor this time will step back into the shotgun. He's going to send 4 receivers to the right side and 1 to the left. And now his fullback, James Derry, will go in motion, and Pryor with a terrific throw across the middle of the field, completing the pass. It's Jordan Hall making the catch across the 25-yard line to the 29-yard line. First and 10 for the Jayhawks.
We talked about the difference this year from last year. Last year, Terrelle Pryor probably would have pulled that down and tried to make a play by himself. This year, calm, cool, and collected in the backfield. And Bob, you hit the nail on the head. Terrific throw.
James Derry just running a nice little down and in route, a real soft route, but wide open. A lot of people talk about Pryor's motion, but I'll tell you what, it's an economical motion. He keeps it very tight.
This time he'll just give it to the fullback dive, and that's James Derry pushing his way forward to the 34-yard line. Pickup of about 5, and it should be 2nd and 5. Let's go down the sidelines to Mike Krause.
Bob, I'm staying in the end zone, and you can see where Aaron Pryor as a thrower, because of his height, he can see the whole field. His vision is clear because he can actually see over his offensive and the defensive line of Dunmore, so there's no concern of watching the cuts and the breaks on the receivers. It's wide open to him.
The difference of Terrelle Pryor in 365 days, to me, guys, is stunning. He is a physically much bigger player as the Dunmore Bucks contain the sweep to the far side of the field right around the line of scrimmage.
Boy, the guy that did it too was Lukasic. 2'11", 6 feet. Just submarining here. They did the pull play again. Watch Lukasic submarine underneath and go for the feet. You got to go for the feet here to get these guys. You see the pulling guard, the tackle. Here he comes. Go for the feet. And there it is.
It was Kenny Grant getting his first carry of the game. He'll get a yard, 3rd and 4. And here comes the Jayhawks to the line of scrimmage. Right around just shy of the 35-yard line. They've got to get to the 40 to pick up the first down. Pryor under center, fakes the handoff, and he's in trouble in the backfield, but that's his specialty. And he finds daylight, and he finds a receiver. Good for a first down into Dunmore territory. Breaking tackles, it's Kenny Grant finding daylight all the way down inside the 20-yard line. First and 10 for the Jayhawks at the Buck 18-yard line.
Again, the difference is that this year Terrelle Pryor looks down the field as he's scrambling and finds Kenny Hart and hits him with another nice pass.
Give credit there to a blocker as well as number 54 in on that play to make sure that he kept open and make that pass at all.
59 yards on the hookup from Terrelle Pryor to Kenny Grant. And the Jayhawks have it 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line of Dunmore.
There was number 54, Matt Gabris, the right guard, who saved that from being a sack.
And this time the Buck defense settles in very quickly on the fullback James Derry and wrapping him up And no gain on the play. Actually, he'll actually give his forward progress to about just inside the 18-yard line. We'll call it second down and a long 8.
Nothing big here, just straightforward dive and not a lot home as the middle of that big Buck line throws him back.
Second carry of the game for James Derry. There's Jack Hens. He's the longtime head coach for the Dunmore Bucks, Hall of Fame coach. With his defense out on the field right now trying to slow down Terrelle Pryor and company. 4 receivers bunched to the left side. Pryor wants to roll that way. Going to keep it. Straight arms his way through one tackle and will step to about the 10-yard line before getting bumped out of bounds.
When they play traditional offense, when they line up, tight end and a receiver on either side, backs in the eye, it's easier for Dunmore to combat that quick Jeannette offensive line. When they spread it, that's a different story because in the open field, well, there's number 11.
6-yard pickup for Terrelle Pryor. They get third down and about 2 coming up.
If people look at a play like that and say, he got 6 yards out of that, It kind of didn't look like it, but that's a 6'6" guy kind of gliding along, looking for receivers. Everybody's paying attention to him, and he gets 6 yards out of the play and brings up third and short. Again,
naked backfield with Pryor, and this time he's going to run to the side of the 4 receivers. He'll get the first down, and a good open field tackle from Pat Hart to prevent the touchdown as Pryor gets down at about the 6-yard line. First and goal to go.
Well, he's 6'6", so when he stretches, he's good for 2 yards, but you're going to see right here where Terrelle Pryor coming out the outside down. Watch here. He could have gotten more, but he had a receiver slip down behind there, and his shadow man managed to bring him down.
And that's a nice open field tackle by Pat Hart. He's doing a great job being the shadow of Terrelle Pryor so far this afternoon.
Yet here is Jeannette again knocking on the door at the 7-yard line.
Greg Williams now checks into the lineup for the Jeannette Jayhawks, wearing number 15. As an extra wide receiver. Again, they were going the last 2 plays with 4 receiver sets. This time they'll put 2 receivers right and 1 to the left, and a more traditional 2 wings flanking Terrelle Pryor on the option pitch. Jordan Hall cuts the corner to the 5 and gets bumped out of bounds and around the 3-yard line. It'll be second down and goal to go from the 3.
They talk about great players, and what is a great player? It's someone who makes everyone around him better. But watch this. Defense right here, getting inside and then pitching it out there. Really a little bit early, but it worked out well. And right around the corner comes number 2, and that is Jordan Hall. So, Pryor has the ability this year, as you said, not to turn everything into himself. He pitches, he passes, he's looking for other people to get involved instead of trying to do it all himself.
Mike McHale, Ryan Enot on the tackle for the Bucks at the 3-yard line, second down and goal to go. 4 receivers this time right side, only 1 to the left. That's Kenny Grant, quarterback keeper, and it's Terrelle Pryor with a great surge by his offensive line in front of him. Barrels into the end zone for the touchdown from 3 yards out.
When they are in that spread formation, it makes it a whole lot more difficult for the defensive linemen to figure out just exactly what's going to happen.
Watch this. You got to get him behind left guard Sammy Moore. And nice job of trying to get in, but you just stretch forward. If you're Pryor, you just stretch forward. That's a 6'6" frame. Like we said, he's good for 2 yards, just laying out.
So the Jayhawks now will bring on the special teams to kick the extra point. John Staff is the kicker. Nick Spino the holder. Snap good, hold is down, and the kick has plenty of distance, but it hits the upright. And with 1:27 remaining now in the first quarter, the score, the Jayhawks 13, the Dunmore Bucks 7. Terrelle Pryor, the rushing touchdown from 3 yards out. That's merely his 32nd rushing touchdown of the season. Goes along with 22 passing touchdowns on the year for Pryor.
You see right there, Lukasic had a chance at him. He got around the corner, but Pryor already diving forward motion.
The other thing too, Gary, is that he makes his mind up right away. That isn't waiting for a hole. That's saying, okay, I'm going to follow Lukasic all the way through.
Well, it was forward motion the whole way too. There's no question about where he's going, and even though 75 Lukasic's hanging around his legs, or make that Hoover rather, hanging around his legs, he still drags him into the end zone.
10 plays, 94 yards for the Jeannette Jayhawks. A little different than the first series where they went 1 play and 58 yards, but nonetheless it's 6 points, and it's 13-7 Jeannette on top of Dunmore. PCN is the only statewide network covering the PIAA championships. For a complete schedule of upcoming sports events, visit the network's website, www.pcntv.com. Talking about Terrelle Pryor and the numbers, and you can't help but talk about numbers when you talk about Terrelle Pryor. 1,800 yards throwing the football, 1,700 yards running with the football, and 4,000 yards rushing, 4,000 passing as a player in his career at Jeannette in addition to everything else. Now he's kicking off for Jeannette as well today. And the kickoff will be taken by Mark Fortes. And Kevin Spager on the return across the 25 to about the 30-yard line. And talking a little bit about the numbers for Terrelle Pryor, he is known to be the only player in WPIAL history to do the 4,000 thing. And they've sent people to the record books trying to find out if there's anybody in the state of Pennsylvania who's ever done that. And to this point, no one has found anyone who has ever done the 4,000 thing. Just one more thing that will live in the legend of Terrelle Pryor and what he's done in Pennsylvania high school football the last 2 years. The #1 recruited player in the country.
I'm just impressed with the 53 touchdowns, 22 in the air, 31 on the ground.
Michael Perry, the sophomore running back for the Dunmore Bucks, breaks a tackle across the 30, 35, and out close to the 40-yard line.
It's been an offensive game so far. You take a look right here. Here's Dunmore. And you can see great pass downfield here by Miller Holmes, showing you they know how to get that done. And then here's the handoff to Perry, and Perry slashes over the left side. And then again, it's Dunmore coming back and answering with number 10, Miller Holmes, carrying himself on the quarterback option.
Perry gets 9 yards on that first down run. Second down and less than a yard coming up.
And Miller Holmes, of course, with the only touchdown for Dunmore in the game on that carry you just saw a moment ago.
Timeout on the field. At this point in time, I believe it's just an official's timeout. There's 46 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Dunmore has it second down and less than a yard to pick up the first down. Michael Perry, 8 carries, 46 yards already.
It's been a really intriguing tale of two cities so far, with the strength of Dunmore up front, the quickness of the Jayhawks of Jeannette. We're seeing them all here so far, and I'll tell you what, Dunmore doing a good job of getting what they want offensively. They don't seem to be awed at all by Jeannette. And there you see Mike Perry, 6 attempts, 37 yards, 6.1 average, right on his season average so far, but nothing going this time.
No, as they go with the fullback dive play to DeLella that time, and he is stuffed and pushed backwards. They will give his forward progress back to the original line of scrimmage, so it'll bring up 3rd and a yard.
Jason Marquez there with the tackle for Jeannette. That'll be the final play of the first quarter.
And it's a fast-moving football game and an explosive one so far. Both teams putting points on the board, but at the end of one quarter play, the AA state championship game, the Jeannette Jayhawks 13, the Dunmore Bucks 7. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more on the Pennsylvania Cable Network.
Fidelity Bank congratulates the Dunmore Bucks for an outstanding season. You are a real asset to our community.
(13-7) Jeannette on top of Dunmore. The Bucks have the football alongside Gary Sutton, Steve Bowen. My name is Bob McCool, and on the sidelines, Mike Kraus.
Bob, Michael Perry, as you see, is the workhorse with that 6.1 average. And what concern of Ray Ritz is he endearingly labeled him the little bull because he's just got concerns about his strength and his power.
5'10", 205 pounds is Mike Perry, as I said, in the weight room and spending a lot of time putting on 20 more pounds of bulk this season. And you see the numbers so far. Jeannette, terrific balance to say the least. Dunmore rushing the football very well. But the Jayhawks with that explosiveness, that 58-yard run for Jordan Hall, getting the game going on the first play from scrimmage. Football is loose, and we'll wait and see who falls on the bottom of the football. The Bucks looked like they had the first down, but the football came loose. Let's wait and see the officials unfold everything.
We're going to see the ball come loose here, and there's Pryor. Look at him leaping over top. But the ball comes loose at the end, and it's going to be covered, I believe, by Dunmore, and is.
But it is a first down for Dunmore. Forward progress all the way out to the 45-yard line. So the Bucks pick up their 3rd first down of the football game. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line.
And that hurdle looks great, but it really didn't help them at all defensively because Pryor just took himself out of the play that time. It was a quick hitter up the middle. Jeannette needs to tackle because the offensive line of Dunmore is doing a great job of getting their running backs into that next level.
Miller Holmes setting up the screen pass, completes it to Michael Perry. Perry gets the football out to about the 48-yard line. Picked up about 3 on the play.
And Bob, there again, taking advantage of that over pursuit by the Jayhawk defense by setting them up with the screen. And you'll see it here. Look, they just block for a moment, then everybody kind of coming through, and then you've got your man right out here on the screen play. And some good yardage for Perry. Sets up 2nd down and 6 yards to go. We saw the numbers at the end of the first quarter, but this is only the 2nd possession of the game now for Dunmore, so they're trying to even up those numbers. 2 possessions for Jeannette. This is the 2nd one for Dunmore, and they're marching again.
High formation, they'll give it to Perry. Perry breaks a tackle, gets into Jeannette territory, and will pick up what appears to be 1st down yardage to about the 45-yard line.
Watch number 75, Robert Hoover, from his right guard spot, pull, and then sustain the block the whole way down as Perry's going down the field. Right there he is, Robert Hoover. And no, not of the Animal House fame, but watch this. Robert Hoover pulling right here. Now stop right there. Here's Hoover. Now he's got his block here. Now watch. He's going to continue to sustain it the whole way down here as Perry continues to push. Look at Hoover. Like an escort. Here it is for another angle. Hoover just pushing his man, stays right on top of it the whole way.
And finally making the tackle is James Derry for Jeannette, but not before Perry picks up another 1st down for Dunmore at the Jeannette 45-yard line. So again, Dunmore doing what they want to do game plan-wise. Long, sustained drives and hoping to put points on the board as well, but this time the Jayhawk defense responds and wraps up Perry at the line of scrimmage.
There are a whole flock of Hawks up there that time, including Chris Hall, the right tackle. You saw him right there, number 50, who just led the charge. You remember Robert Hoover in Animal House, don't you? He was the head of the fraternity house, the Animal House.
On a legacy.
Steve? Yes, a legacy.
Yes. 9:55 remaining in the first half of the football game. Jeannette on top of Dunmore, 13-7.
Again, the Dunmore offensive line is allowing Perry to get into the linebackers and defensive back, that 2nd level of the Jeannette defense. Jeannette's not tackling well so far.
Holmes this time with a straight drop, looking right side, looking to go deep. And the ball is tossed up in the air and intercepted. Throwing it up in the air against this Jeannette defense is a dangerous situation, and Kenny Grant comes away with the interception for the Jayhawks.
2nd big play by Kenny Grant. The ball hung up a little bit on Holmes.
Now the wind's actually crossing now. It's not totally behind. They had a down and in route. Now watch this. You're going to watch 13 go out here, and you're going to watch. Now watch. This man right here is wide open, but he opts to go for the long pass. If he goes short, man's open. Right here, though, he's covered very, very well downfield, as you saw there by number 10 for Jeannette. And that number 10, Sunder, did a great job of reading the whole way and then picking it off. Right, he didn't pick it off, but he actually played it well the whole way. Number 22, Kenny Grant, obviously gets the interception.
And gets Jeannette into Dunmore territory as well. 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Pryor trying to work his magic. Straight arms his way out of a tackle at the 45 when we run out of bounds at about the 43, 44-yard line.
One of those plays you talked about, Gary. He picks up 4 or 5 yards, and you say, well, wait a minute. They had him back behind the line of scrimmage.
3 stiff arms. So watch him. He's got to put here. Here's the first stiff arm right there. Boom. Stiff arm there. Now he's going to come over here. He's going to go stiff arm here. Boom. That's number 2. Now again on number 13. Boom. One more time. And then he just kind of glides out of bounds. Just 4-yard pickup. 2nd down, 6.
Again, mentioning the size difference of Terrelle Pryor. Ray Rich said before the game he basically has lived in the Jeannette weight room. They've got to pull him out of there on occasions. And Jordan Hall will take the carry now on 2nd down and 6. He'll get to about the 40-yard line. I'll bring up 3rd down and about 2 for Jeannette.
I'll tell you one of the things I'm more impressed with Pryor on this year than I was last year, obviously, is his ball handling. You can see he's really paid some attention. I know he went to a quarterback camp in the offseason, but his ball handling, Steve, is much better. See, I keep thinking of you as Robert Hoover, the legacy now.
I understand.
3rd down and a long 3 coming up for Jeannette at the 41-yard line.
Interesting, after the first play explosion by Jeannette, they've shown an ability to run the football and take time off the clock, which doesn't play into Dunmore's hands at all.
4 receivers split to the left side. And now one of those receivers will go in motion. That's Mario McGowan, and Pryor in trouble in the backfield and going to get thrown down by who else but Pat Hart all the way back at the 49-yard line.
Great play by Hart that time, but a smart play by Terrelle Pryor. Nobody open, didn't have any room to run, took the sack rather than trying to make a play.
Well, you saw Chris Mecca, the left end, coming up there too, and then right alongside of him, as we said earlier, the shadow man Hart, the strong safety, and Hart came right with him, and they just had too many people on that side to tackle, came from the blind side, and a good sack there, and a big sack right now for a Dunmore team that needs to get something stopped right here.
4th and 11 now after the 8-yard loss on the sack by Pat Hart of Terrelle Pryor. But with that explosive offense, Ray Ritz is going to leave it out on the field, you would presume. Or will they go with a quick kick? They do, with Pryor back there. And Dunmore was expecting it as they had the return man, Spager, back to return. It will roll dead inside the 25-yard line at about the 22. 7 minutes, 28 seconds remaining in the first half. Jeannette on top of Dunmore, 13-7. The Bucks have the football when we return.
As children, we're so trusting. We trust our dads. We trust our moms. We trust our teachers. Wouldn't it be nice to feel that same trust when you need legal advice? At Lenahan & Dempsey, you will. Lenahan & Dempsey has been serving the community for over 50 years, earning their clients' trust every day. Trust. Just one more reason Lenahan & Dempsey is the right choice when things go wrong.
The top 8 reasons why students should play interscholastic sports.
School spirit, sis boom ba. Is that what they used to say?
For the physical and mental workout.
To know the thrill of victory.
It's real, not virtual.
Hearing my mom over the crowd.
Because sports is a metaphor for life, right?
To just have fun.
And the #1 reason why students should play interscholastic sports.
To get my family out of the house.
It is a bitterly cold December afternoon. Snow in the forecast. Again, if you're just tuning in, the Quad A championship game tonight between Parkland and Pittsburgh Central Catholic is a 5 o'clock kickoff. This game, the AA game, moved up an hour because of an impending snowstorm across central Pennsylvania. The Dunmore Bucks looking to put together some kind of a drive here themselves, trailing 13-7, starting from their own 25-yard line. They'll go back to Michael Perry, their tailback, and he'll get maybe a yard. That's it.
Take a look at Michael Perry right here, the running game. Michael Perry, only a sophomore, 1,600 yards this year. Take a look, averaging 6.1 yards to carry this game. You can see why. A big front line, but he takes advantage of those holes and hits them very quickly. Talked about the weight room this year. You can see the strength and the acceleration. Michael Perry over the left side has had an outstanding game here thus far.
Dunmore with victories over Lansdale Catholic, the District 1 champion, and Loyalsock, the District 4 champion, to get here. And Perry in that Loyalsock game, 245 yards. He had zeroing in on 2,800 yards in his career already. Again, as Gary said, just a sophomore. Here comes the toss to Perry. Blockers out in front of him, and he'll get it out to about the 28-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and long for Dunmore.
Good play call, but an outstanding job of occupying 2 blockers by Terrelle Pryor to really kind of take the blocking scheme down a couple of notches and allow his mates to come in and make the tackle.
We've talked about this before. As great of a player offensively as Terrelle Pryor is, he's a pretty good defensive player as well.
Yeah.
He had a 100-yard interception return for a score in the playoffs.
You commented before the game too, Bob, and I agree with you. He looks like a much stronger guy this year than he was this time last year.
Just physically bigger, no question about it. 6'6" and much, much stronger. Perry now will go into motion and a naked backfield behind Holmes as they'll set up a screen. It'll be ruled incomplete. They wanted to dump it off to Spager on a flanker screen, but it will be an incomplete pass.
We had the blitz from Pryor, and that's why he had to throw it early. Pryor just came. He just came flying up the gut, and no one could put a hand on him, and you'll see it right here. He just comes coming right on through and just boom.
Not only that, but Sean Sunder broke through from the middle, so there wasn't much that Miller Holmes could do.
Shaw Sunder, an interesting story. He was injured in this game last year. Actually suffered a lacerated kidney, a very serious injury a year ago. He was forced to miss the entire basketball season. Again, that's a part of it. These Dunmore, his Jeannette Jayhawk team is also makes up a terrific basketball team as well, led by a guy by the name of Terrelle Pryor. And on the punt return, Terrelle Pryor is pinned backwards, back inside the 25-yard line. Great job on special teams by Dunmore, wrapping up Pryor at about the 23-yard line.
Well, if Dunmore is supposed to be on today, they have certainly not showed it so far. These guys are tough.
No, this has been very compelling because each team has played to their strengths so far and has been successful, which, you know, makes for a real fun football game to watch.
1st and 10 for the Jayhawks, their 4th offensive possession. They've scored twice, they've punted once. They'll give it to Jordan Hall on the sweep. Hall breaks a couple tackles and gets out close to a first down. Great effort by Jordan Hall, diving forward and getting close to a first down depending on the spot.
Lest you think that Pryor is the only one out there, Hall, who scored the game's first touchdown, or this little inside jet play around the corner. Watch the inside handoff, and then you're going to see, stop right here. Look at the blocking right here on the outside. You got a lead block coming up here. You got one to the inside, seal it off, and Hall's going to get right around the corner with that move. Good blocking by that front line again on the left side. And you saw out there on the left guard, Sammy Moore, number 56, Matt Gabris again, or make that left tackle, Adam Locke, number 55, doing a great job.
Second down and 1, after the 9-yard run by Kenny Grant. Now Pryor out of the shotgun, going to keep it. Design quarterback draw play, 1st down and more. Pryor in the open territory, 40, 50. Dunmore territory to the 40, down the sideline he goes, and he's going to finally be run out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed what makes him so special.
Glides through that hole, but as soon as he saw big 76 come in, Jim Sabia got a little bit of pressure by design. He just took off.
Well, you saw the blocking again. The inside guys pushing back, open up the hole right here. You got 2 blocks, and then he just glides. Look at the eyes up all the time. 6'6", looking out over everybody, picking his spots. This looks like a big cruise ship moving down the field nicely.
1st and 10 at the 15-yard line, a 53-yard run for Terrelle Pryor. He goes under center now with a powerhouse backfield behind him, and it's Jordan Hall who gets the call. Jordan Hall will take it inside the 10 to about the 9.
And that's the best inside running play that they've had out of a real standard formation. Nice job blocking up front by those big guys.
Surge gets about 6 on the play inside the 10-yard line, the tail end of the football at the 10. 2nd down and about 5 coming up for the Jayhawks at the 10-yard line. 5 carries, 79 yards for Jordan Hall. Of course, 58 of them on the first play from scrimmage for a touchdown. Same look with that powerhouse backfield, but a whistle and a penalty flag before the snap.
Time clock ran out.
So that will back up Jeannette on what will be the first penalty assessed against the Jayhawks in the game. And the delay of game penalty back to the 15-yard line. Make it 2nd and 10.
Have a dead ball, false start. On the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
It's 5 yards, just a different variety as we get the official call from Francis Snyder, our referee. 5-yard procedure penalty. So it will indeed be 2nd and 10 from the 15-yard line.
It's been a really clean game so far, almost penalty-free here, except for one each team. And now here's Jeannette backed up with the game they just got a moment ago.
4 minutes, 43 seconds remaining now in the first half. We invite you to stick around at halftime. There you see the numbers for Jordan Hall. Mike Zambelli and Jim Wills will take you through some halftime highlights and some insight into the Jayhawks and the Dunmore Bucks. 13-7, Jeannette on top, and the Jayhawks looking for more. Pryor under center with receivers bunched to the right side. They'll toss it to the outside, and the pass is dropped on the spot. Dade Vaughn out there as the receiver could not hold on.
Dade Vaughn in perfect position, and he had nothing but daylight to the end zone as all the people downfield had already blocked their men inside. There was nothing but a lane to pay dirt.
Well, it's interesting that they call this an incompletion. It almost looked like a lateral, and Jeannette might have benefited from them calling that an incomplete pass.
Dunmore with a similar call their last possession. Flanker screen that looked like it could have been ruled a lateral, but both passes considered forward passes. Yep. And an incomplete pass at the same time. Stops the clock now. 4:22 remaining first half. 3rd and 10 for the Jayhawks. This time, 4 receivers left side, 1 to the right of Terrelle Pryor.
Watching the draw, too.
And they throw it this time, flanker screen to Jordan Hall with blocking in front of him, and he will cruise into the end zone from 15 yards out for the touchdown.
Didn't work on the right side, so try it on the left side, and well blocked again, Gary, just like you pointed out on the last one. Outstanding blocking on that flanker screen.
Well, and the best block is number 10, Sean Sunder here over the side. I'll watch. Here's the pass. Now Sunder, you can't even see it on our screen there, but Sunder actually blocked to the inside. Sunder out there, the tight end, just with a beautiful inside block that opened it up for the touchdown.
So Jordan Hall with a rushing touchdown of 58 yards and now a reception for a touchdown from 15 yards out. And they'll go for 2. Now leading by 12 points. Pryor wants to throw for it, but it's off the fingertips of his intended target, and it will be an incomplete pass. Jordan Hall, the intended target. So now 4:15 remains in the first half, and our score, Jeannette 19 and Dunmore 7. Let's go down to the sidelines one more time with Mike Krause.
Cheerleaders.
Mike Perry, the occupied now. Take a look right over here. There's the screen, or the block I was talking about there was sundered to the inside.
And you wonder if that, I think that was a lateral too, because the line of scrimmage was the 15. He caught it at the 17, so instead of a pass reception, it's a 15-yard touchdown run by Jordan Hall.
Yeah, and the nice part about it is that it still counts just 6 on the board, either way you look at it.
Right.
The 2-point conversion pass incomplete. Let's check back again now with Mike Krause. We got things hooked up.
Bob, you can see the athleticism by Aaron Pryor. Right now he's got 5 schools: Ohio State, West Virginia, Florida, Penn State, and Tennessee. He had an official visit to Ohio State before the Wisconsin football game. They have a tradition of walking down this long street and then going to this old gymnasium to have a little bit of pep rally. He's leading this team, and the people up there at Ohio State are chanting his name, Aaron, Aaron, Aaron. He really was excited about it. And Bob, you know about now what another school that just added into the mix.
The Oregon Ducks, and Mike Paletti, the head coach for Oregon, has kind of come out of nowhere, and the recruiting trail of Terrelle Pryor. Terrelle Pryor right now is believed to be choosing between Ohio State, West Virginia. Florida was in the mix. Tennessee has been in the mix from the very beginning. Oregon is now in the mix, and Penn State still very much in the mix as well in the recruiting process of Terrelle Pryor. He is nowhere close, he claims, to making his final decision as to where he wants to go. And part of that is Terrelle Pryor, the football player, is perhaps the #1 recruit in the country. Terrelle Pryor, the basketball player, is a top 50 player in the country, and he wants to play both.
By the way, if they're calling out there in Michigan, Aaron, 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 they'll have the wrong Pryor because it's Terrelle Pryor, not Aaron Pryor.
So Dunmore has the football now after the kick return, 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. 4 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the first half, and the Dunmore Bucks now on offense, trailing 19-7. Big series coming up now for Dunmore. They will split J.J. Dempsey out to the left side and bunch things up in the backfield, trying to spring a block for Perry. Perry is surging forward, out across the 30 to about the 31-yard line. He'll bring up 2nd and about 4.
Nice little trap play there to try to get Perry open that time. And again, it was 75 Hoover, the guy that was leading the parade out of there. You see the little cross there in the middle, and then Perry coming right in behind Hoover again on that left side. It's been a good play all afternoon. It's gotten 4, 5, 6 yards every time they've run it.
Be interesting to see if Ray Ritz changes things up a little bit defensively. They've kind of determined pre-snap where Terrelle Pryor is going to be, and it almost seems like the play call by Dunmore is to run away from him just by design.
Here comes a toss sweep right side. Perry trying to pick his way, finding some daylight. Jeannette all over him. I believe the football may have come loose, but Perry wrapped up and will recover the football back at around the 30-yard line. So they'll lose about a yard on the play, and it'll bring up 3rd and 5.
Initial hit that time by 31 Montel Walker, who did a great job fighting off his block. And then again, the pursuit by Jeannette. One of the reasons that they've only given up 8.7 points a game is tremendous pursuit to the ball.
The traps have worked well against them so far. Straight up blocking, though, they've been able to handle that very well along the line because of their quickness.
3rd and 5 for Dunmore. And now they'll bunch 3 receivers left side and a whistle before the snap. And I believe a timeout being called by Dunmore. It is a Buck timeout, 2:47 remaining first half of play. The Bucks on offense, but trailing 19-7. So Jack Hensey's the head coach, wanting to talk about what he wants to do with his offensive team after the timeout. PCN's wall-to-wall farm show coverage. We're on Saturday, January the 5th through Saturday, January the 12th. Some of the highlights include a high school rodeo and the square dance competition. Governor Ren Liddell will lead the opening ceremonies live on Saturday, January the 5th, only on PCN.
I like the timeout call here because 2:47 left in the half. You're down by 2 scores, and you need 5 yards here, or else you got to give it back to a team that's been really good the last 2 times they've had the football.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want the bus to leave town in the first half. Nope. And this is a big time here. If you can somehow either get a good drive, even if you don't get points, a good drive, or put points in there, you're still down 12 points in the game here so far. So this is a big play here, a defining moment in the early part of this contest.
As you saw, Jeannette doesn't need a whole lot of time on the clock to score from anywhere on the field. 58-yard run on the first play from scrimmage from Jordan Hall, getting Jeannette on top. They are right now on top 19-7. With the Dunmore Bucks having a 3rd down and 5 from their own 30-yard line. 3 receivers bunched to the right side. Now Spager will go in motion right to left in front of Holmes out of the shotgun. Deep drop, looking to go deep, looking to go down the field, and the pass will be incomplete. The double cover downfield was Fortes, and the incomplete pass will make it 4th down.
Just barely missed on the throw, but great protection that time because he hasn't had all that much time when he's thrown previously.
Watch this. You want to see how to step up the pocket out. So this is just a fly pattern, slant to the inside, slight slant, and an almost perfect throw. Just passed. A good toss here by Miller Holmes, about 45 yards in the air with a fairly stiff wind here this afternoon.
And that free safety, by the way, a 6'6" guy, you got to throw it over the top of Terrelle Pryor. So dangerous that if Terrelle Pryor picks that off with open territory to run the football. Now the punt return. Jordan Hall, blockers out in front of him, 40, 50, down the sideline he comes. A wave of Jeannette Jayhawks in front of him to the 20. One more block to the 15, and Jordan Hall will take it the distance. 71 yards and a punt return for Jordan Hall.
And big job by Terrelle Pryor, not only pointing the way, but then a big block downfield by number 11. But that was well set up, and they just showed again why they average so many points. They can hurt you in so many ways.
So what we said a moment ago, Dunmore not wanting to get the ball back in the hands of the Jayhawks, and it's Jordan Hall, the junior, with a coming out party this afternoon. He's been a big part of this Jayhawk surge to a perfect season, and he has shown that today. 71 yards on a punt return.
Well, watch Pryor. Pryor coming up right here, hunting the block, all the way down, and there it is. Boom. Last guy to beat. 2 blocks put down there by Hall. And his partner there and right on in the end zone. And I'll tell you what an afternoon so far for Mr. Granow, Mr. Hall out there. He's been unbelievable.
Done it almost every way possible so far. A 58-yard run, a 15-yard pass reception, and now on special teams as well. Jordan Hall with the punt return. And he has done a little bit of everything today, and so has Terrelle Pryor, including blocking ability.
Well,
add that to the list.
Dane Vaughn, along with Pryor there, gave the block at the end, number 34. Dane Vaughn you saw down there on the special teams, and knocking a man off his pins to spring Hall to the end zone.
Well, we've talked about Pryor and his transcendency this year from last year. I think that's another thing that we're seeing, and we've seen it on defense. Last year, he really wasn't a tough guy on defense. This year, he thrives on contact.
I think maybe it's oversimplification, but he's gone from being an athlete to a football player.
Yeah.
And now a 2-point conversion attempt. Jeannette called the timeout to talk about what they wanted to do on a 2-point conversion attempt. And again, we'll bunch 4 receivers to the right side. Now Shaw Sunder will go in motion to the left. Pryor going to throw or run? He's going to maybe do both. He's going to run. Now he finds an open receiver, wide open in the end zone. And that's the ability of Terrelle Pryor. Sucks the defense in. Shaw Sunder comes open for the 2-point conversion.
The moment he moves forward, everybody comes up, and that frees up everybody behind. Great players make everyone around them better because of what they do in terms of drawing attention to themselves.
Yeah, and he had, again, I'm not sure he makes this throw last year.
Right there. You saw everybody come up. Everybody gets caught watching him, and the moment you watch him and leave your responsibilities, it's over. See him, watch him come over here. They can see white shirts coming up out of nowhere. Here he is. He's setting up now. He's going to run. No. And everybody looking back and saying, look what it looks like. Here's what happens. Right there, you see the freeze. Now the man open to the back of the end zone.
But based on what you're seeing, if you're Jack Hensies, you can't yell at your defensive backs. I mean, if he's going to start running,
pick your poison.
I'd go too. I mean, what else would you do when you start to see a guy with that kind of ability start to run? And wide open in the end zone is Shaw Sunder for the 2-point conversion. So it's now 27-7. The Jayhawks on top. There is Shaw Sunder. Again, was injured in last year's state championship game as the Jayhawks fell to Wilson area a year ago, and they have said without hesitation that their single-minded goal was to get back here and get the gold medal this year.
How about the day that young man, number 2, Jordan Hall, is having so far? First play of the game, touchdown, returns a punt for the touchdown. I mean, he's been unreal.
And now Pryor will tee it up and kick off. And back to return, Mark Fortes, Kevin Spager for the Dunmore Bucks. Instead, they'll go with a squib kick, and falling on it, one of the up men for the Bucks. That's Brian Copeland, sophomore, falling on the football, and Dunmore will take it. Still plenty of time left for Dunmore, 2:22 remaining and 2 timeouts.
I'm not sure that was by design.
I don't think it was by design at all. I think that was just off the wrong side of the foot. But now you get a short field if you're Dunmore and a chance to put some points on the board. You're down 27-7, no question about it. You're in a world of trouble right now. But if you go in there with a touchdown here at halftime, you've got the choice of second half, and who knows?
And they've still done a great job up front, that big offensive line, to spring Perry. Not so much lately, but they've shown that they can do that.
Perry gets the call on 1st and 10. Gets blocking, gets to Jeannette territory, picks up the first down, straight arms his way out, and finally wrapped out of bounds and thrown down inside the 35-yard line. Good, strong first down run for Michael Perry. Terrelle Pryor on the tackle.
Speaking of Mike McHale, the left guard with a block that sprang him up, number 60. Right up here, you said good block into the inside here, and then Perry going forward again. You give Perry a hole, and he hits it about as quickly as anybody.
And he's got a bit of a stiff arm, too. We've seen some pretty good ones so far this afternoon, both by he and Terrelle Pryor.
And Jeannette will call the timeout. The Jayhawks burning their second timeout. 2 minutes and 12 seconds now remaining in the first half. Ray Ritz coming out on the field, wants to talk to his team a little bit. So at 1st and 10 now for Dunmore at the Jeannette 35-yard line. PCN is the only place you can see all 8 PIAA basketball championship games, as well as the football games you're watching right now. Coming up in March, the Bryce Jordan Center, PCN will be there for all 8 championship games, and our high school basketball schedule begins in January. A couple of special tournaments. Saturday, January the 12th is when we'll kick it off at the Harrisburg Hoop Fest. 4:20 is the first game of a triple header. Harrisburg and Lower Marion is the first game. Reading and York William Penn is game 2, and then game 3, Susquehanna Township and Chambersburg. We'll have another doubleheader for you Saturday, February 2nd. The Scholastic Play-by-Play Classic from Villanova University. First game, Ridley and Lower Marion. The second game, Chester and Roman Catholic. Tune into PCNTV.com for a complete schedule coming up in the next few weeks of our winter broadcast schedule. Basketball, wrestling coming your way as the winter season turns after the football playoffs are complete. 1st and 10 for Dunmore. I formation. Perry with another big hole to run through, and he'll take it for another 5 or 6 yards down inside the 30-yard line.
I love those 2 calls. You're down 20 points, and it's towards the end of the first half, and you got stuffed the last 2 times, but you go right back to what got you to this game, and that's power running the football, and they've done an outstanding job. No panic whatsoever on this Dunmore Bucks team.
Mitchell and Hoover on that right side, the right guard, right tackle. Number 75 and 52 is where they're running at the moment. And Perry doing a good job of getting them behind those 2 big horses.
5 yards on the first carry, gets it right back again on 2nd and 5, and this time he'll pick up about 3 more. But now, sooner or later, you got to think that they're going to burn out one of those timeouts as we turn inside of a minute and a half remaining first half.
There's a play that's been good to him all afternoon so far with Hoover pulling to the inside with that little trap play, and then Perry getting on through. It's third down and 2, and the clock ticking down here, 1:17. You still got a little real estate to traverse.
3rd and 2 now coming up for the Bucks from the 27-yard line. This time they'll give it to Hart, lining up as the fullback, and Hart will not get the first down. Great job by Jeannette's defense to stuff him at the 26.
Now you've got to burn a timeout, don't you?
4th down and 1.
There it is.
And so the clock stops, 51 seconds remaining, and the Bucks will call the timeout as Hart is stuffed after a 1-yard pickup.
If you're weak of heart, that's not the place you want to go. Obviously, Hart is strong of heart, but gets dived into the center there and pushed back out, and not very happy about it.
You're back down to the sidelines. 51 seconds remaining in first half, and check in with Mike Krause one last time in the first half.
District 2 hasn't been represented, Bob, in here for the last 10 years, and Dunmore comes back. They're not only proud in the community of Dunmore, Lakeland High School in Mid-Valley sent posters with words of encouragement. They've been strong rivals. And then at the basketball game between their hard rival West Scranton, they announced over the PA system, good luck, because it's District 2. Although on the field they're rivals, but outside they're all family, and they are just wishing the best for Dunmore in this afternoon game.
Dunmore, West Scranton, a big rivalry in the Scranton area, and that was a statement game for Jack Hensey and his Dunmore Bucks, beating West Scranton, one of the better teams in Class AAA, in week number 3, a 19-13 overtime victory. And asked Jack Hensey about that victory, and he said that's when our kids really believed how good they could be.
Tell you what's been available here so far, the pass routes. It's the underneath routes. They have not hit them yet. They've been trying to hit everything long so far, has Miller Holmes. Let's see if they get one of those underneath pass routes. They're just going to try to power it in here.
They got a power look with both Hart and DeLea at fullback, leading the way for Perry, and it's close. They got to get to the 25, and it's going to depend on the spot.
Well, where the foot is, he's got it. Where the foot of the official is, he may have. I don't know, though. It's.
They say no. They're not even going to measure it.
See, you can see where the flag is, just on the other side. And the ball just touching this side. So, yep, it goes over. And you talk about a deflator. There it is.
Dane Vaughn with a tremendous defensive play that time for the Jayhawks.
And now, 45 seconds remaining in the first half. Jeannette gets the ball back, leading 27-7. They still got a timeout left.
And you got a gulp after that.
Jack Head's just looking at it and saying, I thought that sucker would work. That looked like a pretty good play to me for a moment, and it just got shut down. And the quickness of the Jeannette defense is what shut it down that time.
Yeah, it was open early.
So now Jeannette with time on the clock and the ball, 1st and 10 at the 25.
Most teams you think might be content to go with a 20-point lead. I'm not so sure about this club. Let's wait and see.
And here's a little interesting look, and the old swinging gate lining up, and Pryor just going to throw it deep, looking for Hall, and it's a jump ball, and pass interference, I believe, is going to come up as a penalty flag is thrown. That was a different setup.
Haven't seen that one before.
I've seen it on extra points, but I've never seen it lined up for a play from center, with just the center and the quarterback lined up with one another, and everybody else got a bunch on the other side.
Take a look at this. Now, what you got here is, okay, where do we play? So all the line goes over here like this. One guy's right here. Here's a center. You got a back. You got Pryor. And let's see what you got. Here's a little inside fake. Throw it deep. You got a man down there. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty.
I have ineligible receiver downfield on the offense. Pass interference on the defense. Penalties offset. Replay the first down.
I was wondering if maybe they were going to call procedure because the center wasn't covered on that end of the line.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a great big old do-over, and all it did was run 9 seconds off the clock. So we'll try it 1st and 10 now from the 25-yard line one more time. Now 36 seconds left.
We had a little rumor they were going to start the game with a weird play. I'm wondering if that was the play that they originally were going to start the game with.
If nothing else, it was fun to watch.
If it didn't work the first time, let's try it again. Same formation, whatever it may be. And Pryor going to run with it this time. Turns the corner to the 30, 35 and 40, and going to run out of bounds and stop the clock with 27 seconds remaining at about the 44-yard line, 1st and 10.
Outstanding downfield blocking by 34 Dane Vaughn, because Vaughn was the only guy who could block out on that side of the field.
Yeah, you get out there. It's a scary offense, really, when you look at it, because Pryor's going to get 5 yards just for getting started here. I mean, after that, it's all, Katie bar the door.
You got 19 on that run to the 44-yard line, 1st and 10, and again, the smartness of Terrelle Pryor getting out of bounds and stopping the clock and saving that timeout.
Ho-hum, 19 yards. It's just, another day at the office.
Unofficially, 8 carries, 82 yards in the touchdown run for Terrelle Pryor. He's run for 1, he's thrown for 1.
Here they come back in a relatively normal set.
Well, maybe not. A little shifting and moving around, and Pryor now shifts out to the wide receiver. This is essentially the kind of formation they used in that run for Hall in the first play from scrimmage, but now Hall's going to be the quarterback and Pryor the wide receiver, and an incomplete pass. Jeannette, well, there comes the flag.
Yeah, he was pushed out of bounds.
The late flag.
He was pushed out of bounds. It shouldn't even have been a question about that, unless they were going to say it was an uncatchable ball. But even at that, he got literally pushed out of bounds.
Cortez, the defender, who pushed Terrelle Pryor out of bounds.
What's this?
Official downfield didn't make the call, but upfield they did.
Pass interference on the white. First down.
That might be the easiest call we've seen in the tournament so far.
So the officials working as a unit eventually get the play called correct. It will be an automatic first down on the pass interference penalty, marked from the original line of scrimmage. And Jeannette will now take it into Dunmore territory as they'll walk off the penalty to the 41-yard line of Dunmore.
I think it would be tough to say that any ball you throw towards Terrelle Pryor could be deemed uncatchable. unless it's 5 or 6 yards out of bounds.
Throw it off the top of the scoreboard. I'm not sure you get up that high, but otherwise, you never know. Pryor will walk to the line of scrimmage and set up in a shotgun. 4 receivers left side, 1 to the right, and that is Kenny Grant. Pryor, time, buying more time, plenty of time. Waiting for somebody to break open. Now he's going to take care of business himself. Shakes loose of a tackle and will get a first down and get out of bounds at about the 28-yard line with 6 seconds remaining.
Talk about poise. You know, that's another word we could add to the litany of things that have been used of this guy. Poise. That looked like one of those old games you used to play when you had touch football. You go out there 1001, 1002, 1003. You know, you had to count 4 or 5 before you went in. Look at this: 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. How about 1005?
Boy, and credit Dunmore with great coverage downfield, because he had a load of time to find somebody.
Man.
Great coverage by the Dunmore defense and great blocking by the Jeannette offensive line.
And staying with it. I mean, both sides staying with it. Well, what do we got? The playbook for this one.
Jeannette will call a timeout. The final timeout of the first half for the Jayhawks with 6 seconds remaining. The eyes of the world will be fixed on Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania on February 2nd, and PCN will be there with live coverage of all the festivities and Punxsutawney Phil's much anticipated weather prediction. 6 more weeks of winter or perhaps an early spring. It's Groundhog Day on PCN.
It's really kind of neat. You see at the end there that they're taking him out. And I don't know exactly what they call them, the Punxsutawney ambassadors or something, but they actually take the groundhog around the state.
Right.
I was at an event a couple years ago and he got loose, and it cleared the room. Everybody's up on their chairs just screaming, and the guys are just going along in their top hats trying to find the groundhog.
1st and 10 for Jeannette at the Dunmore 28-yard line. Shifting it again. Hall now in the backfield. Pryor now lining up as a receiver. Jordan Hall, the quarterback, throwing for the corner, looking for Terrelle Pryor. Guess what? Out jumps everybody, and Terrelle Pryor adds touchdown reception to his list.
You can't teach height, but you sure can't teach that kind of athleticism either. 6'6", they send him out. Great call by Ray Ritz. He goes on down there. Hall throws him a pretty good pass. Watch this. Did he push off a little bit? Well, nope. Not really. No, he went straight up and speared it. One of the reasons he's a pretty good basketball player too, Bob. You've had the chance to see that in action as well. What a call. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, after he made the catch, we saw one of the Dunmore defenders down there, Mark Fortes, just kind of throw up his hands, and you can understand that.
Like, what am I supposed to do, grow?
Jordan Hall. Somebody give me a step ladder. Maybe I have a better chance.
Well, he's 6'6". He's got his arms up, and he's up in the air. He's like 11 feet tall. There's you got 2 points to add on to it.
2-point conversion pass complete to Dane Vaughn, and that will be the end of the first half. An explosive second quarter for the Jeannette Jayhawks, and they are in control of this AA championship game. And we'll wait and see what kind of adjustments Dunmore can make to see if they can come back in this second half. In the meantime, the Jayhawks in command in the AA championship game. Mike Zambelli, Jim Wills will take you through our halftime show. At the break, the score, the Jeannette Jayhawks 35, the Dunmore Bucks 7 in the PIAA Class 2A state championship matchup.
Play the game with honor, for the glory, and for victory. With pride for my team and respect for the game. You think they could design something better?
Support the people who support Pennsylvania student athletes. These sponsors have put their marketing dollars to use through the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association and the power of high school athletics. To get your company in the game, contact the PIAA's official sponsorship team, the Market Street Sports Group. Log on at www.marketstreetsportsgroup.com.
It's like there's a wall between us. I mean, he doesn't even recognize me anymore. There's no communication. I know he's there. Hello? It's so frustrating.
Sounds like you've got a networking problem. Let's get to work.
Computer Patrol is on duty for any problem. Count on our on-site support to put you in control.
Patrice! Jim! He's back!
Computer Patrol from Pentella Data. Our geeks are smarter than their geeks.
Get your VHS or DVD of this PIAA championship. Visit our website at pcntv.com or call toll-free 1-866-PCN-VIDEO. All championships are $29.95, including shipping and sales tax. You're watching PCN, brought to you by your local cable company. PCN tours can be watched at your desk or on the go too. Just visit pcntv.com. Click on PCN Online and watch tours at the usual times during the week. Or click on Podcasts and download a tour and watch it anytime you want on your computer or your video iPod. Get PCN tours the way you want them, on cable, online, or on your iPod. PCN programs on VHS and DVD are available for purchase online. Go to our website at pcntv.com, click on PCN Store, and browse through hundreds of program titles, tours, books, profiles, Gettysburg Battlefield walks, PIAA championships, and PCN merchandise, all in a safe, secure shopping environment. Visit the PCN Store at pcntv.com today. PCN is looking for interns. If you're a college student interested in television production and politics, PCN has an opportunity for you to work with professionals and get hands-on experience. You would report to PCN studios near Harrisburg and work between 20 and 40 hours a week. In order to qualify, your internship must be part of a college academic program. To find out more about PCN internships, visit our website at pcntv.com.
$35-7, Jeannette as advertised with Terrelle Pryor, a big second quarter outscoring the Bucks 22-0 as they are pulling away here in the 2A championship game. Mike Zambelli joined by Jim Wills, and I think that speaks for itself, Jim. Obviously, Jeannette, as advertised, they are a whole lot more than Terrelle Pryor.
They are, Mike, and what happens is Pryor became more of a sideshow in the beginning. In the first quarter, Jordan Hall took over, did a nice job with that first play of the game. Obviously, that set the tone, and since then, they've done a lot of different things, putting Hall in different positions, quarterback as well, and putting Pryor in some different positions to receive the football.
Well, for Dunmore, and you look at it, able to hang into this one for the first 12 minutes, and for pretty good reason. They were able to be successful on third down. They tackled well, and they limited the opportunities of the Jayhawks, but that all exploded in the second quarter.
And it really exploded on that punt return from Jordan Hall. That's the thing that really turned the tide. I think once that happened, the heads went down a little bit. Dunmore said, we're in real deep trouble here right now. And then since that point on, they've been really going in an uphill battle.
Take a look at some highlights in this one, and obviously, as we mentioned, the Bucks did get off to a good start after, but how about the first play from scrimmage? You have an All-American quarterback, #1 recruit in the country, and you split him wide right and you let Jordan Hall watch him. He's going to ride him home. He's whipping him on the way down like a jockey in there. That was a pretty neat scene early. But the Bucks' first possession, and really, Jim, in that first quarter, they did play well.
They did. Kevin Spager comes up with the catcher. Miller Holmes did a nice job at quarterback. Perry did a good job of running. Miller Holmes, did a nice job once again of using that fake inside and then rolling out. At that point, they really thought that they could match the momentum for momentum. But then you look at this guy. He goes one way, comes back the other, and he just finds people all over the field. And, once again, we talked about him already. Jordan Hall just does a great job, and then Pryor puts himself into the end zone for the touchdown as well. Miller Holmes comes back. He does a nice job, but then he makes a poor decision here trying to force it into double coverage, and it just doesn't happen, and the interception happens by Kevin Grant, and that's the thing. And they go 3 and out, but still, when you give the ball back to this gentleman, a lot of bad things can happen against you.
Well, Jim, I think you always say it. Every year we come down here, it's amazing how turnovers are just magnified in this stage here, which is Hershey Park Arena. Second game in a row, or actually 2 of the 3 games we have seen really turn. I thought Sarah Catholic with a long throw downfield. I don't know if Jack Henzis was looking for those throws downfield, maybe underneath a little bit and then some running after catch. But obviously the bottom line here is this has gotten away from Dunmore because of giving them so many opportunities, and then there's the punt return for Jordan Hall, and then you put him in a quarterback and throws a touchdown pass to guess who? Yeah,
guess who is right. You put him in the end zone, you put him anywhere. How about Pryor? He's done a great job. He blocked on the punt return. He just got the reception in the end zone. He's done it all here in one half.
No, he certainly has. Well, let's take a look at how these two teams arrived to this point of their seasons, and of course, Jeannette, one of the 4 undefeateds coming from the WPIAL, a record-setting year. They've scored a state record 811 points already. Their season low to this year, I guess they were held to 35 points one time. That was a couple of games ago in the playoffs against Karn City. But Jim, they've just dominated this 2A classification at home and now on the state level.
They did. They set a state scoring record, 811 points. Mike, look at that Whippio final against Beaver Falls. They had 449 yards of offense. So if you thought you saw something here in the first half, they still got a lot more left in their tank. They've done a great job of going through that schedule all year long and coming back here with that revenge on their mind. They lost that championship game to Wilson last year, and they put that in their mind and etched it there, and they've come back with a vengeance.
Only one time this season have they been held to under 40 points, and of course it looks like that's going to continue and not going to continue here as they have 35 up there already. But 6 playoff wins to this point against teams with a 74-15 record. They have won by at least 20 points. The closest game they've had all year long was against Wilmington, a 41-21 final just last week. Here is their conference, the WPIAL Class 2 Interstate Conference, and of course they are your champs, followed by East Allegheny, Greensburg Central Catholic, Washington. I mean, really, when you look at it, Jim, it's Jeannette and then the rest of them, and that's the way it's been for the season.
And they not only win, but they win by the Mercy Rule, Mike. 14 Mercy Rule wins on the season. Just an incredible performance, both offensively and defensively for them all year long.
Well, and Coach Ray Ritz, and it's easy to get, drawn into what they do offensively, but this defense has obviously played well also this season. We look for Jack Henzis, the veteran head coach, 41st season, and he even talked about Terrelle Pryor and being maybe one of the best he's seen in his storied career. But another great year here, and we mention it all the time. I think that when you see a team and you go down that list, Riverside, they lost to 34-20, but able to turn that around some 3 weeks later and win 41-14. That says a lot about the character of this Bucks program.
Oh, it does, and they've done a great job all year. They've only given up 9 points a year on the season for defensive purposes, but when they were in the league, they only gave up 6, and they did a great job in their league of really holding everybody except Riverside under double digits in that season for the year. So the league was a great part for them, and they did an outstanding job. They grinded out some. They've really pounded people in some other ones, but over the year, they've done a great job.
Lackawanna League Division II, Riverside, of course, with that win that we mentioned just a moment ago, did win the league championship. Dunmore coming in at 4-1 and the 14-1 overall record. Lakeland, Scranton Prep, Mid-Valley, and Western Wayne, all a part of the Lackawanna League Division II conference, which is a good one, and Dunmore a very worthy representative of that one. All right, we are at the half. That will do it for our segment. When we return, we'll send you back up to the booth with Bob, Steve, and Gary for our second half. But it certainly looks like Jeannette is well on their way to the school's first ever state championship.
reaching, caring, inspiring, teaching. Every day, APSCUF faculty members of the 14 state system universities are making the difference in the lives of students.
What I get to do here is not just teach. Teaching is great, and I love it, but you get to mentor. And mentoring to me means that at certain points, I'm explaining things, but I'm also listening, and we're problem solving together.
Committed, dedicated, APSCUF, Pennsylvania's own state system faculty.
Describe to me in your own words a Philadelphia Eagle fan.
It's like no other.
I honestly believe the diehard fans, if you cut them, their blood would be green.
It don't matter, dude. We live for these teams.
This is not the end of the world.
Get your VHS or DVD of this PIAA championship. Visit our website at pcntv.com or call toll-free 1-866-PCN-VIDEO. All championships are $29.95, including shipping and sales tax. You're watching PCN, brought to you by your local cable company. America's manufacturing is all over the globe these days. But look at Pennsylvania. Lots of the things you see and use every day are still being produced right here. PCN Tours takes you inside Pennsylvania's factories to show you how things are made. Your guide from the company will walk you through the whole process, from raw materials to the finished product. PCN Tours, Sundays at 8 p.m. on PCN, only on cable.
PA Books takes you on an odyssey through Pennsylvania. PA Books, Sundays at 9 on PCN, only on cable. What do the following people have in common? They're all from Pennsylvania, and they've all been featured on PCN Profiles. PCN Profiles, Sundays at 10 p.m. on PCN, only on cable. At this time of year, you have to put some more thought into getting around safely in your car. And if you're traveling around Pennsylvania, you need more than a local forecast to help you make plans. That's where Weather World comes in. The team at Weather World brings their years of experience together to tell you about weather conditions all over the state every weekday. Weather World, weekdays at 5:45 p.m. on PCN, only on cable.
The Jeannette Jayhawks, the Dunmore Bucks in the PIAA Class 2A championship game. And at the break, the Jayhawks on top by a score of 35-7. A season ago, the Jeannette Jayhawks got to this championship game and they came up a point short to the Wilson area team, 29-28. But a year ago, Terrelle Pryor was a phenomenon that the state of Pennsylvania was just getting introduced to. And Steve Bowen, now everybody knows about number 11.
Yeah, here we see him here. Nice job of getting away from pressure and then a good throw down the sidelines. And here's Pryor again on the design quarterback sweep. Stiff arms galore. And this was the design quarterback draw that I think really left everybody going, oh yeah, that's what he can do.
And there's a couple other players on this Jayhawk team that can do some things as well. Jordan Hall having a breakout day as well for Jeannette, doing a little bit of everything for the Jayhawks as a pass catcher and a pass thrower as well. And so Terrelle Pryor perhaps not just the lone reason that the Jayhawks are unbeaten.
And how about Shaw Sunder there with the catch with the two-put in the end zone? And then you see Terrelle Pryor says, I can catch too, coach. the last touchdown of the first half, making it 35-7 here at the half. And we saw a little bit of everything from the Jayhawks here in the first half. Oh, we had a game Dunmore team in there, and it looked like it was moving along, possession for possession. And a funny thing happened on the way to the tie.
And what Dunmore wanted to do was control the clock with their power running game, and they've got a big back there, sophomore Michael Perry. But unfortunately, Jordan Hall got things started in a big way for the Jayhawks.
We had the play fake there. They put him at quarterback. Everybody's thinking all week, okay, we're practicing Pryor, and you start the game with Jordan Hall. And then Pryor says, I can pass it out here to Hall, and he can run from there too. This time out in the flat, runs it in for a touchdown. And then you take a look, it's Jordan Hall. Oh yeah, he can catch punts as well. Take a look at this. Weaving his way down the field and just takes off all the way to the end zone, and Pryor's right there with him blocking. And look at the block at the end. Pryor throws down. And also his other partner, number 34 there, Dane Vaughn, and into the end zone off the punt.
71 yards on that punt return for Jordan Hall. And so now Dunmore faces a situation of trying to come from behind, and a team that is built around a running game in order to try to come from behind by 28 points at halftime.
Well, they had success early on running it with 31. Mike Perry, good hard run there, and we saw a lot of that in the first quarter when Dunmore had all of their success, including the game-tying touchdown. But
their opening drive took 6 minutes off the clock, and that's what they had hoped to do all day long. Unfortunately, the line on the other side stiffened up a little bit for the Jayhawks, but you can see some pretty good success there in the early going in 4 and 5 and 6 yard clips, comparing a lot of them off trap plays, hold guards, and tackles, and that's how they were able to get some yardage, but only hit pay dirt one time.
Well, Jack Hensey, a Hall of Fame coach for the Dunmore Bucks, and his Hall of Fame credentials will be tested here as to what he tells his team at halftime. They will get the football to start the second half. Where do you go if you're the Dunmore Bucks as we take a look at some first half numbers, and Jayhawks getting it done both ways, ground and air.
How about 111-28 in the air for the Jayhawks, which is astounding. 183-100. You might expect the rushing yards, Steve, but I think the 111-28 is just, it's off the charts. And here they are, 294 yards to 128 in the first half. Over 20-yard plays, 5-2. I mean, that talks about domination.
Well, and we saw in the first quarter what was a real fun football game to watch, because both teams playing to their strength. There was the quick strike ability of Jeannette, and then Dunmore answered right back with a 6+ minute drive. And then all of a sudden, Jeannette started scoring in a variety of ways. They scored on the punt return. They scored with the touchdown pass to Pryor. And Gary was talking about that during the break, and the fact that they were able to really do it in many different ways kind of left Dunmore on their heels a little bit. And now we also talked, what do the coaches say? If you're Jack Hensey's, do you abandon the running game? Do you not do it?
Well, that's the question, and we'll see if our Mike Krause was able to find out what the coaches had to tell him at the break.
Bob, Jack Hensey said he was a little disappointed in the guys tackling. They're trying to contain Aaron Pryor. If they can't contain Aaron Pryor, obviously no matter what they do on offense, it's going to be difficult to catch up. Ray Ritz, he's remembered last year at halftime he went in with a lead. He said this game's far from over. They're such a well-coached team. We just got to continue to play football. He's very happy with the adjustments his assistant coach has made to get those points on the board, but he still has a second half of football still to play.
So the Dunmore Bucks, again, will get the football to start this second half. And as Steve Bowen said, do they go from their game plan that got them 14-1 and to a state championship, try to air it out? They've got a quarterback in Miller Holmes, a 3-year starter.
I think you go out the second half. I think Jack Hensey's going to tell his kids, I would almost guess, we're going to go out and play to win the second half here. And if we win it big, so be it. But let's win the second half. We got here playing great football. And, the worst nightmare has come about here, Steve, when you really think about it. Last year it was Terrelle Pryor. If you could stop him, which is exactly what happened in the second half with Wilson, you stop the team. This year, your worst nightmare. Terrelle Pryor has learned how to involve everybody else in his team in the game, and that has made this team absolutely unbelievable.
We talked about his transformation last year to this year. It was a different last 2 minutes of the first half last year to this year. Kind of a mishmash of mistakes all around for Jeannette last year to end the first half, when they really could have put the hammer down on Wilson and never recovered after that. And this year, boy, they took it over with 2 minutes left and added to their lead.
Yeah, you can't focus on Pryor. I mean, Pryor had a great first half, but look at you look out there and you see number 2. Jordan Hall, the half he had, the other players that got involved. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable.
Kevin Spager on the kickoff return for the Bucks. Crossed the 10, 15, 20, and finally brought down at around the 22-yard line. And so we'll wait and see now how Dunmore starts this second half. And a possession of very great importance. This might sound a little foolish, but at 35-7 on the scoreboard, Jeannette gets the football back and scores. Mercy rule comes into effect, and Dunmore really has no shot. This is huge for the Bucks.
I think if you're the Bucks right now, you play football the way you played all season long. This is a very good football team, Dunmore. I mean, you're looking today at something special. You really are, and a lot of people thought this might be a possibility. Others said, well, it could be a big egg. So far, it's been something special. Dunmore, you just got to go back to what works for you, and here they go.
And Perry does get the call, and he's got a huge hole to run through across the 30 and dives for what might be a first down. They had to get to the 32 to pick it up, and he might be there. Perry took a spill to get that first down pickup.
I got to tell you, I'd have fun watching this Dunmore team. Look at the blocking here, sustaining it. Those are the kind of things. Another good block right there. Perry getting forward. I mean, this is a very good football team. That tells you about the effort that's being thrown against him today so far.
He does indeed get the 10 he needed to get the first down. 18 carries, 90 yards now for Michael Perry. Again, approaching 1,700 yards now on the season, just a sophomore. He'll get the call again, but this time a sea of blue there to wait for the sophomore tailback, and he will not get to the line of scrimmage.
And the first one there, wait for him to turn around. It was it 36 or 26? 36, James Derry with an outstanding burst through the line.
James Derry out of the linebacker spot. Get him low, and watch this. He submarines right underneath. There you see him. Looked like he was kind of gnawing on the ankle there for a minute. I mean, gosh, dove in there. A great play by Derry.
And they lose 3 yards back to the 29-yard line, so it's second down and 13. And now they'll split Perry out as a wing, and Holmes wants to throw. He's in trouble. Miller Holmes going to run with it. He'll pick up the yardage that they lost on the first play and get it out to about the 35-yard line. Pickup of about 6 on the play, but it will bring up 3rd and long now for Dunmore.
Nice play by Holmes because, again, it was Derry and Vaughn in on the pass pressure.
Well, they were blitzing. I mean, Vaughn was blitzing on a linebacker spot. He came right through the hole. They picked up the blitz very well, and a good job to dance out of there by Holmes, and so it'll be 3rd down, and you live to throw another day.
3rd and 7 coming up for the Bucks.
There you go. Look at this.
35-yard line.
PCN, happy holidays. Absolutely right. And what's happier than having football championships on a week before Christmas?
Holmes out of the shotgun. Going to run for it perhaps. No, he's going to stop, plant, throw. Finds Spager across the middle of the field. Spager will get the first down in Jeannette territory at the Jayhawk 48-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Bucks.
Talk about presence by Holmes and a great job by Spager of coming back to the ball. Those pass routes have been open all afternoon, and they've tried to go deep a couple times. But watch this. Holmes looking. Spager comes back. Good job of staying inside of Pryor and gets good position.
And also presence because he was nearing the line of scrimmage. He was moving forward, but had enough composure to let the ball fly. Good throw, good catch.
15 yards on the hook up to midfield. And now they'll go back to the running game, and Perry will get wrapped up immediately as James Derry there on the tackle of Mike Perry right around the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard, and that's it.
Watch here again, straight up blocking. The Jayhawks have been more than equal to the task today. On the little traps and the pulls so far, that's where Dunmore's been getting most of their good stuff here this afternoon. Steve, you see the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's obvious that they're back to trying to establish some sort of offensive rhythm and presence here at the start of the 3rd quarter, but doing it a little bit more with the throw.
2nd and 9, Holmes with a deep drop. He wants to set up a screen. Now he just tosses it, and it will be an incomplete pass. I believe it was DeLello who was the intended target, his fullback, and Miller Holmes just getting rid of the football, saying, I don't want to get hit behind the line of scrimmage and trying to make something happen.
That's the longest front pitch forward pass that I have ever seen. Look at this. It looks like he has room to run there for a moment. And then he said, no, not there, not there. Okay, I'll get rid of it. I don't want it. You take it.
And the best thing that could have happened on that play was what happened, an incomplete pass.
Good pressure that time by 31, Montel Walker from the front line.
The incomplete pass will make it 3rd down and 9 now for the Bucks. The tail end of the football at the 50. They got to get it to the 40 to get the first down.
Got that crossing route available, I think, again in the middle. Let's see if they go for it.
Hart, tight end left, 2 receivers to the right side. Now one goes in motion. That's J.J. Dempsey. Holmes going to get hit from behind, and the football's loose. Miller Holmes will fall on it, but on a blitz, coming through and hitting him in the backfield. Who else? Jordan Hall.
The outside linebacker blitz that time. Jordan Hall coming from the blind side. Just too many people to block, and Hall came running.
Here we see Hall coming in on the blitz. And Perry made Jeannette made a nice adjustment as that play was unfolding with the wide receiver going in motion. They pulled someone from the opposite side of the defense and kept the blitz on by Hall.
So they can't get the first down, and so Gilroy will come in to punt the football. Pryor and Hall, the 2 stars of the day so far for Jeannette, are back to return the punt. Pryor will let it roll out of bounds. And Jeannette will bring the offense on the field with 8:12 remaining third quarter, leading 35-7, and they'll start 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line.
There you see Miller Holmes, the quarterback on the side, kind of trying to shake things off. I mean, he took quite a hit. You know, it's bad enough to take a hit when you can see it coming. When you can't see it coming, it just buckles you. And your pride takes a little bit of a hit, too. Holmes, a heck of a quarterback. I really like the way he moves.
1st and 10 for the Jayhawks, 34-yard line. Pryor in the shotgun. He'll send Jordan Hall in motion out of the backfield. 3 receivers right side, 1 to the left. Now Hall goes in motion back the other way, and he'll get the call on the sweep to the 40 and out to about the 44-yard line before he's run out of bounds, close to a Jayhawk first down.
54, Matt Garba's a nice job pulling around to lead that blocking.
But watch Speedo, the wide receiver, number 4 as well. There's a good inside block up front again. And then just take it off, and he's had a heck of a day, has Jordan Hall.
9 yards on that play, gives him 89 on the ground, at 37 as a receiver and 28 as a passer.
Actually, it was 56 Sammy Moore as opposed to 54.
Jordan Hall and Terrelle Pryor kind of putting on their own punt, pass, and kick competition, and of course this AA championship game. Pryor out of the shotgun. Give it to Hall one more time on 2nd and short. He'll get the first down and out to about the 48-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Jayhawks.
Left guard pull it out that time, number 77, Jason Marcus. You also have the left tackle, number 55, Adam Locke, pull in, open up a nice little hole in the middle for another dive forward, another first down for the Jayhawks.
Jordan Hall, 744 yards coming in.
Here's the pull,
5 more
there's
here.
the pull, and there's the hole up the middle.
2nd down and, 1st and 10 for the Jayhawks at the 48. Pryor under center this time with fullback Jordan Hall behind him. Jordan Hall playing a little bit of everything and playing at the fullback spot in that particular place. Takes the fullback dive into Dunmore territory to the Buck 47.
How about that center, Chris Hall, number 50? You just get on his backside and say, well, let's just go forward with you and we'll ride you, little big fella. There's Chris Hall, these guys never get enough attention, do they? Chris Hall, the center, you got to get to these guys. They take them out to dinner regularly. Be happy with them.
Chris Hall and Jordan Hall cousins on the Jayhawk roster.
They say, cuz, I can ride you.
5'10", 230. I don't know if I'd want to take him out to dinner too often.
2nd down and 5 as the Jayhawks will send Vaughn in motion. Vaughn will take it and pulls his way forward. Great effort by Dane Vaughn to pick up the first down.
Good blocking. We've been talking about that with the pulling guards again, but that's just Vaughn taking you head on and saying, I'm tougher than you are.
We saw the sign at the beginning that said, nothing personal, it's just business. Boy, are they business-like this afternoon. They running hard that time, Dane Vaughn. And Gary, again, the guys up front are doing an outstanding job.
How about that? Nice little hot chocolate. It is great stuff. It's Hershey. Hot chocolate. I mean, it's great stuff.
9-yard pickup on the first carry of the game for Dane Vaughn. That's his 2nd carry. This time he'll take it inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. He'll pick up about 4 more on that one. 2nd down and 6 coming up.
Nice little double handoff inside. It's a fun play they use every now and then on the Jayhawks team.
Chris Mecca and Ryan Anot in on the tackle that time for the Bucks.
Jack Hensey talking about that young man, Terrelle Pryor, before the football game, said, haven't seen a whole lot of players like Terrelle Pryor in my time up in the Scranton area. And I said, don't worry about it, Coach. You haven't seen a whole lot of players like him anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania.
It's a big argument in Pennsylvania now. We heard a lot of people talking about it this weekend. Is he the best ever out of the state? I mean, I know you can always say, well, it's an arm moment. That's why everybody's talking about it. But I'll tell you what, I'd like to see better.
Right now, the city of Pittsburgh says He is the best player that's come through there since a guy named LeVar Arrington. Football on the ground as the inside reverse is put on the ground. And I believe Dunmore comes away with it. They do. So the Jayhawks turn it over for the first time today. Dunmore has the football.
A double inside handoff again. This time never got the handle on it, and a loose ball, and Dunmore comes up with it. So Dunmore gets a chance to come back here.
Mariel McGowan had the inside handoff from Jordan Hall, and it never got in the breadbasket. So Dunmore has the football at the 36-yard line of the Bucks. 5:24 remaining.
Jim Sabia with the fumble recovery.
Miller Holmes in trouble. Penalty flag goes down as he's trying to get himself free. Hit as he throws the football. It will be incomplete as Holmes is tossed to the ground, and a penalty flag in the Buck backfield.
If anybody thought Jeannette was going to play this second half safely and sit back and let this team do whatever they wanted to, they're blitzing almost every time right now.
I have holding on the white.
Holding penalty against the Bucks will back them up 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Let's see if we can find, right there you can see it, number 77 hanging on there. For Dunmore, that's Matt Jones, just hanging on to the uniform there and trying to save his quarterback. Can't fault him for that.
I am holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot. Repeat, first downs.
So the Bucks will try it from even further back. It's going to be back inside the 20 to the 19-yard line again from the spot, and it'll make it first and about 25 coming up now for Dunmore.
I'm glad you did that math because I was trying to figure out how long it would be.
Matt Jones, by the way, the senior center, outstanding player, 290 pounds, 6'1". And, you know, those linemen, they take a lot of pride in not having their quarterback sacked.
First and 25 first and 26 for the Bucks. We'll go with a draw play to Perry. Almost had the ball stripped out of his hands, and all that did was allow the pursuit of Jeannette to come and wrap him up, led by Adam Locke at about the 17-yard line.
But Jordan Hall with the initial hit that time. And Hall.
So that young man too, Adam Locke, as we said before, number 55, but Jordan Hall getting his hands in there. You get the impression, guys, the Jayhawks tried to make a real statement here. I mean, they're not just satisfied with this 35-7 lead. They are making a statement right now defensively. Hey, don't just hear about our offense and all those wonderful things. We got a pretty good defense too.
Adam Locke, the nephew of former Seattle Seahawk Steve August. Holmes setting up a screen. This time it's Spager. Blocker out in front of him. 25 and 30, and out close to the original line of scrimmage, which was the 36-yard line. So it'll be third and about 11 or 12 coming up after the spot.
Picks up about 15. Nice play. Now look at him sell it to the right and then throw it back to the left. And then quickly dancing down that side is Kevin Spager, the senior. But just getting back near the original line of scrimmage, as you said.
Mike McHale with a good job out in front.
Third catch of the day for Spager for 51 yards. Third and about 12 now coming up for the for the Bucks from the 34-yard line. Holmes again wants to throw for the first down. Looking across the middle, and Spager has the catch. Needs to get across the 46 to get the first down, and the straight arm will get there, and a penalty flag comes in as well. Kenny Grant on the tackle, and a penalty flag right at the spot of the tackle.
Could be a face mask.
But a great effort by Spager to make sure he got the first down for the Dunmore Bucks.
He kept saying to Spager as you're sitting there watching the play, turn upfield, turn upfield. He was dancing along that line.
5-yard face mask penalty on the defense, 5-yard penalty from the end of the run, and we have a first down.
So it is a first down and then 5 more, which will put into Jayhawk territory after they mark off the 5-yard penalty. Should be at about the 48-yard line.
This Dunmore team, when you look at the season they've had, I mean, just so well coached that they have a wonderful array of plays in their arsenal and offense. Defensively, they're very tough. I mean, it's just you watch this team, and it's amazing to think this team's down 35-7. I'll take a look at that. There you go, just a momentary face mask. He took his hand off. Player knew he had it. Look at this.
Here comes Perry with a big hole to run through, and Pryor will shove him out of bounds inside the 25-yard line at the 24. Another first down pickup for the Bucks, their 4th of this second half.
Ryan Itutis, number 54, flattened his man I mean, the big guy just put him on his back. And here's Itutis. Look at this. Boom! Right there. It just opens a huge hole.
24 yards on the run for Mike Perry.
Here, watch it again. Here comes Itutis. Right there it is. He just puts his man total in the back, and that opened the big hole for Perry to scamper down the field inside the 25-yard line, 1st and 10.
At the 24-yard line of the Jayhawks. 3:17 now remaining third quarter. 35-7, Jeannette on top. The Bucks trying to drive for a score. They'll go up the middle with Perry this time, and he'll surge forward for about 2.
5'10", 205-pound sophomore. You can teach a lot of things. You can't teach hard running like that. A kid's got to want to run that hard right up the middle. And he didn't get a whole lot, but boy, he kept piling forward.
Good trap play up front again, too, to try to get that little opening he got through for a couple of yards.
Adam Locke in on the tackle for the Jayhawks. 22-yard line after the 2-yard pickup will make it 2nd down and 8. Now they'll split the backs in the backfield behind Miller Holmes. Play action fake, and Holmes going to try to dump it out, but it's blocked, knocked down, and tipped and intercepted, I believe. Shaw Sunder got his hands on a football initially, and it was caught on the deflection by Jeannette.
And it's going to be caught by Montel Walker, number 31, I believe.
And it was a great job of shifting right before the play to bring Sunder over. Was that Sunder? Yeah, it was John Sunder. 6'4", gets up in the air, and Walker with a great job of picking it off. But Sunder was totally on the other side of the line about 2 seconds before that play snap, and they made a shift and brought him over.
So Montel Walker will get the interception. Shaw Sunder gets the assist if we were playing hockey. 2:28 remaining third quarter. Jeannette has the football back.
Walker, a senior, 5'10", 210-pound nose guard. He gets a moment of glory.
And speaking of glory, here comes Terrelle Pryor in an option. Great move, 40. And finally goes down the sideline and out of bounds right around midfield into Dunmore territory at the 49-yard line.
Just like watching a gazelle. Great, it really is.
Yeah, great play fake that time. Most eyes went towards the middle of the field, and Pryor just brought it around the left end.
Those are all the little subtleties this year. Last year he was good. He was really good. There's the ball fake. Now coming down. Reed. Coming down again. You're going to see Hall try to get a decent block there. But it's basically Pryor making the most of everything. There's the ball fake. Everybody takes it into the line, and then here's Pryor opening up himself on the outside.
26 yards on that carry for Terrelle Pryor, putting him over the 100-yard mark on the day, and officially 10 carries and $1.19. 49-yard line of Dunmore. Pryor now in the shotgun. He's going to fake the handoff and keep it again. Another big hole, and see you later. Terrelle Pryor going to take it home for the touchdown. 49 yards. Terrelle Pryor puts it in the end zone. It took them 2 plays and 75 yards, and it was all number 11 doing the running.
And we saw 3 separate gears on that play. A little bit of a slow one coming through. Then to hit the hole first, once he gets in the clear, then the Jets go on. And that long stride takes him into the end zone.
See, we'll get a chance to see it one more time. 54, Matt Gabris, the right guard. 77, Jason Marcus, both pullied. They opened up the hole behind him, and once you get a hole for him, he hits it, it's over. I mean, there's no one else going to take care of you. But Gabris and Marcus, a lot of credit there, number 54 and 77 respectively, with a beautiful pull and the great hole behind. And you got the best in the country taking advantage of that hole, and he's going to turn it into points as he just did there.
And so Jeannette now a extra point conversion away from putting the mercy rule into effect.
Ball, illegal substitution on the defense. We'll have to distance to the goal.
12 men on the field for the Bucks, so that will cost them half the distance to the goal line. And Jeannette looking at the sideline as to whether or not they want to go for 2 after they move a little bit closer. Again, the mercy rule goes into effect for Jeannette. It would be the 15th time, and now the 16th game of the season that the Jeannette Jayhawks have got the mercy rule put into effect.
I got news for you. I'd be trying to sneak more than just 12 in. It'd be 13, 14 to stop this guy. Although I'm sure it was unintentional, obviously. And there, Jack Hensey's he's going to be. This hurts today. You don't like getting beat, but I got to tell you what an outstanding season his Dunmore team's had.
Penalty is declined.
So they declined the penalty.
Pretty classy.
And now the officials have to move the football back because they already moved it forward.
Yep.
If you decline the penalty, you got to take it back here, and you're going to kick it from the 3 instead of the 1.5. You know, the name that comes to mind when I watch Pryor play, the closest I can get to was Vince Young. I think we said that last year. Vince Young is, that kind of poise and
6'6", 220 pounds, same basic physical stature of a Vince Young, and certainly the athleticism. Snap good, hold down, and the extra point is good. 42-7 now is your score. 2 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter of play. The Jeannette Jayhawks in control.
TV timeout.
And we'll take a break. We'll come back with more from Hershey Park Stadium in the PIAA Class 2A championship game. 42-7 is our score. Jeannette on top of Dunmore.
As children, we're so trusting. We trust our dads. We trust our moms. We trust our teachers. Wouldn't it be nice to feel that same trust when you need legal advice? At Lenahan & Dempsey, you will. Lenahan & Dempsey has been serving the community for over 50 years, earning their clients' trust every day. Trust. Just one more reason Lenahan & Dempsey is the right choice when things go wrong.
PIAA is a nonprofit corporation and a voluntary membership organization that develops and enforces rules regulating interscholastic athletics. PIAA establishes and enforces eligibility rules, adopts contest rules, registers officials, and operates championships without state or federal funds. PIAA believes that the student athlete is best served by emphasizing the amateur, educational, and character-building aspects of high school sports, and recognizes that students are in school primarily to obtain an education.
Great crowd on hand from both sides, both Jeannette and Dunmore, with great fan support in this afternoon's AA championship game. Terrelle Pryor kicking off, and a booming kick that will, with the wind behind him, will go into the end zone, and Dunmore will start 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
You take a look at what Jeanette's done so far today. How about this? Athleticism on offense and defense with the interception there, and then watch Pryor. Just sit back and watch. There's not much to say. Steps to the outside, little 26-yard carry, and then here he goes. Ball fake, go to the inside, see you later.
2:08 remaining third quarter of play. The Jeannette Jayhawks 42, the Dunmore Bucks 7. This Dunmore Buck program is a program with great pride. Again, Jack Hensey's a longtime head coach. They got to this state championship game in 1989, won the Class A championship game. Under the leadership of a guy by the name of Tim Ruddy, who was a starting offensive and defensive tackle for that 89 state championship team. Went on to play center at Notre Dame, and then a 14-year career with the Miami Dolphins. And that man was his high school football coach, Jack Hensey's. Tim Ruddy, one of the many players who have spent time under the tutelage of Hall of Fame coach Jack Hensey.
Well, and when you talk to people from Dunmore, they talk about Hensey's being there for so long, and you get the sense of community pride that he feels for them and they feel for him. And certainly, his words talking about he knew a couple years ago that this group was going to be special if everything worked out, and they certainly have been. 14-1 coming in is nothing to sneeze at.
And of course, Hensey's with the championship of his own back in 1989, a guy who knows what it's like to come here and win one of these things. So, or come to the state championship and win one of these things. So, a guy that's got some pedigree in his own, and not surprised, I don't believe, that he brought Dunmore back here today.
Third down and 7 coming up for the Bucks after a 3-yard pickup for Mike Perry.
Little sweet girl there showing you what she thinks of her Jayhawks. They're #1.
Mike Miller-Holmes in the shotgun. Time to throw and an open target, but not quite able to hook up with Mark Fortes. Fortes tried for the one-handed grab but couldn't hold on, and it will bring up 4th down.
And you see Holmes just for the first time all day got a slump in shoulders a little bit. Pretty good pass here. He thinks it just off the hand. Tell you what, when that ball hits one hand right now, as cold as it is out there, that feels like someone throwing a big old brick at you.
And I'm guessing if you're Dunmore, you're just going to let this third quarter run out.
They are indeed going to let the time tick away here in quarter number 3. And so the Jeannette Jayhawks add one more in the touchdown column in the third quarter. And so we'll go to the fourth quarter with the Jayhawks in control. After 3 periods of play in the AA state championship game, it's Jeannette 42, Dunmore 7.
Fidelity Bank congratulates the Dunmore Bucks for an outstanding season. You are a real asset to our community.
The Jayhawk faithful have made the trip east and seen their Jayhawk team put on quite a show. 42-7. Jeannette on top of Dunmore. The Bucks have it 4th down and about 7 from their own 23-yard line. And so they will punt the football. Jordan Hall will drop back deep to return for Jeannette. Sean Gilroy will punt the football with the wind to his back. Hall will field it at his 40. 45, and will get wrapped up there at the 47-yard line. So Jordan Hall, who had a 71-yard punt return for a touchdown in the first half, gets wrapped up after about a 6 or 7 yard gain on the return there. And so the Jayhawk offense back on the field.
Ryan Copeland, number 14, in on the tackle. You know, talking about Terrelle Pryor, I think last year I would have said Vince Young. This year I think I might say a little bit more towards Pat White down at West Virginia, because they've been able to design more, I think, in their offense based on what he has learned how to do.
Look at that, Dunmore 200 yards, Jeannette 400. Jeanette's going over 500, and I think 500 a couple times this year.
On the first down carry, Kenny Grant gets the call for the Jayhawks. He'll take it into Dunmore territory to the Buck 49-yard line, a pickup of 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
In fact, Jeannette averages 403 total yards per game, 285 or 284 on the ground, 119 passing, and they're at that number in the 3rd quarter.
We talked about this as the 15th time in 16 games that we've had a running clock with the Jeannette Jayhawks. The one time that it wasn't was against Aliquippa, and if you'd have told the Aliquippa coach that he was going to score 48 points against the top-ranked team in the state,
get killed,
and lose by 22.
70 to 48 in that game.
70 to 48.
Incredible.
All-time highest scoring game in the history of the WPIAL playoffs. That was a AA semifinal with a victory for Jeannette over Aliquippa, 70 to 48. And then the Jayhawks went into the final and beat Beaver Falls. They only put 61 up against Beaver Falls. First and 10 for the Jayhawks.
Yeah.
First and 10 for the Jayhawks. Now at the Buck 45-yard line after the first down run for McGowan. And now trying to turn the corner on a sweep, it's Kenny Grant, and he will not be able to turn the corner. Wrapped up at about the 46-yard line.
Well, the Jayhawks become another history-making team in another way today, as you see the handoff here. Just some straight stuff going on right now. But they and some new uniforms into the game as well. But you look at the Jayhawks team, they've never won a state championship. They're one of those over 640-some wins. And we saw Steel High do it yesterday, became the 3rd ever. And today this team becomes the 4th. Mount Carmel, Berwick, Steel High yesterday, and today the Jayhawks joined an interesting group here in Pennsylvania, have over 600 wins and now a state championship in a few moments.
2nd down and 11. Jayhawks keeping the ball on the ground. This time it's it's Perry, James Derry, getting the call for Jeannette. PCN's wall-to-wall farm show coverage will run Saturday, January the 5th through Saturday, January the 12th. Some of the highlights include a high school rodeo and the square dance competition. Governor Rendell will lead the opening ceremonies, coming your way live Saturday, January the 5th here on PCN.
And the ever-popular sheep to shawl.
Which is your favorite, Steve.
It is.
Yeah.
5-yard pick, a 4-yard pickup for Derry. Now Pryor going to run the option. Straight arms his way out of a tackle. 35-30, block downfield, 20, 25, 10, 5, touchdown, Terrelle Pryor. Terrific blocking downfield. Nick Spino with a block that sprung him into the end zone.
36-yard run by Terrelle Pryor and just making it almost look too easy.
We commented last year the first time that we saw him run the football, and it was It was kind of like he glides. Watching him in the WPIAL championship game, he turned a corner against Beaver Falls, and it looked like 3 or 4 Beaver Falls players had angles on him, and he just ran away from them.
Well, Spino pushing out there in front a little bit, but Terrelle Pryor putting an exclamation point on this one. His team now at 48. They set a new record this year for scoring per game here in the state of Pennsylvania. They were #1 in the state.
And total number of points.
811 points coming into this, which was a new Pennsylvania state record, breaking the record set by Southern Columbia. Now the extra point attempt up and good by John Staff. And now, with 8:44 remaining in the contest, it's 49-7. Jeannette in control with Terrelle Pryor now going over the 200-yard rushing mark on the afternoon.
And when we talk about breaking that record of Southern Columbia, they took care of it with 35 in their second round inter-district game against Carn City. Then they put up 41 last week against Wilmington, and now 49. So they've kind of boat raced that record.
Well, let's add to the gaudy figures here a little bit more as we beat this to death. Coming in today, the 86 touchdowns. They now have 6 more on the ground. 92 touchdowns on the ground this year, 20 via the air.
860 points total.
That's a pretty good 2-year total for some teams.
And that is a 16-game season. And it's going to be a 16-0 record for Terrelle Pryor and the Jeannette Jayhawks. And again, when you're a Dunmore Buck right now, you don't want to hear this, but you might be telling your grandchildren someday that you were playing against Terrelle Pryor.
Absolutely.
Well,
we've done basketball over here. I saw Billy Owens score 52 one night in what I thought was one of the greatest games I ever saw played in the arena. We saw Kobe Bryant in his last game in one of the not-so-greatest games I ever saw played in the arena. 16 points. Of course, he went on to be okay with the Lakers. So, you know, but great performances. I'm trying to remember some that kind of marked the overall performance here, because the night that Billy Owens scored 52 in basketball, he also had like 10 assists.
Yeah.
Here's Terrelle Pryor today scoring, but you're more impressed by the all-around game he's playing.
Terrific return right now for Kevin Spager for Dunmore into Jeannette territory. 30-20, cuts back to the 15. Great return by Kevin Spager. Little spark for the Dunmore Bucks to say we're not finished yet, as he takes it on a great kick return and finally brought down inside the 15-yard line.
Little spark for the Dunmore Bucks, and Spager did that from just about the moment he caught the football. Makes a nice cut right here, breaks a tackle, and then heads to the outside, shows good speed.
Shows good presence, just switching the ball over to his left arm as well and keeping it away from the defenders going down the field.
Finally wrapped up and brought down on special teams by Brian Waitman at the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Dunmore Bucks at the Jayhawk 15-yard line. Again, the mercy rule in effect, so the clock will continue to run, barring of a timeout or a score.
Some more recent history. How about Darrell Rivas for Aliquippa in, what was that, 2003?
Yep.
I think he scored all the points, and the neat thing about that is that 2 nights later he scored 37 in basketball.
The thing that's most impressive to me, the reason I bring it up, is that I think not just scoring points, distribution, doing the right things in the right places, doing all the right things this year. That's what's been impressive, and what a way to get a curtain call.
Timeout called by Jeannette and Ray Ritz to give his defense and his first unit a chance to come out. They come out hands holded as they come to the sideline for a curtain call. That's a nice job by Ray Ritz to allow them to come out for a curtain call and use a timeout to do so.
It's also nice to get some of the other guys into the state championship game.
PCN is the only place you will see, in addition to the high school football championships you've been watching all year long, or all weekend long, you'll see the high school basketball championships coming your way in March from the Bryce Jordan Center at Penn State. And beginning in January, we'll bring you a coverage of select regular season tournaments from around the state. And we'll start our basketball coverage in the new year Saturday, January the 12th, with a triple header from Harrisburg High School and the Hoop Fest. Harrisburg Lower Marion, speaking of Kobe Bryant's alma mater, Reading and York William Penn. Susquehanna Township and Chambersburg is a matchup. Another doubleheader Saturday, February the 2nd from Villanova University. Again, we invite you to tune in and check out the website, www.pcntv.com, for full programming on the network, including our winter sports coverage. Mike Perry with an opportunity to run one into the end zone. He has carried the ball now 26 times on the afternoon and finally able to put it into pay dirt.
Nice job by Perry of stepping in toward the line, saw that it was jammed there. Quick move to the outside and then sprinting around the corner for the touchdown. You'll see him here. Good blocking okay up front, but it was really Perry doing it himself, angling right toward the pylon and stepping into the corner of the end zone. Good run by Perry. Good score by Dunmore.
Yeah, DeLella with a nice seal block at the point of attack that time, as he's done, I'm sure, all season long. We've seen him do it all game long.
18th touchdown on the ground for Perry on the season. And Sean Gilroy will come in to convert the extra point. 7:51 remains in the AA championship game. And our score now, Jeannette 49, Dunmore 14 when we return.
I think the plastics field gives you the unique opportunity of not only combining what you like to do, but also making a good living while doing that. I'd rock climb 365 days a year if I could, but obviously that doesn't provide a good enough salary, if any. With plastics, you can take those hobbies and interests and turn them into a job and a career.
Holy mocha! What is she doing in Sheets? I love that Java jacket, baby. And whipped cream. I like that on a woman.
Coffee House Coffee, now at Sheets.
So cold, yet so hot.
Mike Perry's 10-yard touchdown run for the Dunmore Bucks makes it a 49-14 score as we head to the sidelines for our Mike Krause.
Bob, as that clock is ticking down, the fans at Jeannette are celebrating. There's a story about Tom Elias. One of the oldest Jeannette fans, it was a way of life for Jeannette. When he was a younger guy, they used to have a parade on the way down. They'd parade through the streets with a band. They'd go down to the field. And he was so enamored by it, one day he said to his mom, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to the football game." Hasn't missed a game since. And down in their community, they're trying to get the pictures of the celebrities. Ray Ritz's picture's not up there yet. Now, with the performance of the Terrelle Pryor, must be a friend of Aaron's, I guess. Sorry about that, Terrelle. The performance of Terrelle Pryor, maybe Ray will get his picture up there as a state champion.
Well, Terrelle Pryor is still not the most famous Jeannette Jayhawk. That title belongs to one of the great gentlemen in the state of Pennsylvania, a guy by the name of Dick Hoke, who was the first player prior to Terrelle Pryor to be first-team All-State in football and basketball, an accomplishment that Terrelle Pryor had last year as a junior, and pending what will probably be a great basketball season coming up his senior year, will probably have that title again. But Dick Hoke was a great athlete at Jeannette High School, went on to a great career at Penn State, and then with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a running back coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers for 34 years before he retired last season. And doing a basketball game out there last year, we had an opportunity to spend some time with Dick Hoke, and in his now retirement, one of the great gentlemen and one of the great players in the history of Pennsylvania high school football. And he is a proud alumnus of the Jeannette Jayhawks.
We saw a lot of pride out there. You know, Jeannette, just a nice place.
We have a Dunmore timeout.
And Coach Hensies is doing the same thing. His first team getting
classic
their curtain call from the proud Dunmore fans. You know, certainly for the first quarter, we thought that this was going to be one of those fun games, but fact of the matter is that there was just too much Jeannette. Not just Pryor, not just Hall, just the way that they went about scoring touchdowns in just about every way conceivable.
It was a lot of fun if you were Jeannette today, but if you were Dunmore, it wasn't the kind of fun you wanted. And we're going to have a little bit more fun, I know, later this evening, too, coming up as the clouds getting a little ominous looking here over the stadium.
The Quad A State Championship comes your way this afternoon here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Again, the time was moved from 7 o'clock originally to 5 o'clock because of the impending snowstorm. Pittsburgh Central Catholic Parkland, what is a highly anticipated matchup. Two 15-0 teams, which I believe is the first time we've ever had unbeaten 15-0 teams in the state championship game. As the season went to the extra game in the last couple of seasons, we got 15-0 Parkland, 15-0 Pittsburgh Central Catholic in the Quad A State Championship game. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock here on PCN. So Jeannette will move 5 yards closer now. First down and 5 coming up for the Jayhawks. as both teams have given their second units an opportunity to run the show. And the new quarterback for the Jayhawks is Cameron Baraji, but the running backs are still picking up a lot of yards. And that is Jordan Hall, who has had a huge game today for the Jayhawks. And Hall will be a big fixture for Jeannette next year. The junior will get his opportunity now for the curtain call after he takes it into Dunmore territory to the Buck 44-yard line.
We're looking at the blocking up front. And, you know, you talked today about the great running backs, the skill players. But you also have to talk about Chris Hall, the center for this club, Sammy Moore, the left guard, Matt Gabris, the right guard, the left tackle, Adam Locke, Jason Marcus, the right tackle, Brandon Barbish, the tight end. I mean, it's been fun to watch these guys all afternoon. They've done a great job blocking.
Carry this time by Toddy Harris for Jeannette. He finds daylight around the left side, pick up another Jayhawk first down inside the 30-yard line, down to about the 26 before he's bumped out of bounds.
Toddy Harris, only a sophomore, 5'7", 145 pounds. You saw him scamper around the outside.
Picking up the Jayhawk first down at the 26-yard line. Again, the clock will continue to run. In case you're just tuning in and wondering why the clock on your screen continues to run even though he went out of bounds, the mercy rule into effect with the Jayhawk first touchdown of this second half. Jayhawks going with the fullback dive, and the football's on the full field, and the Jayhawks will recover it. So Jeannette does put the ball on the ground, but they recover the fumble, or do they? No. The Bucks have the football. So the Jayhawks turn it over. That's the second turnover of the game for Jeannette. Both of them fumbles here in the second half.
It was Dave Olivetti that recovered the fumble.
Take a look here. A lot of people going after the football, and it's loose early. And now just kind of squirt out of there all of a sudden.
Or actually, Olivetti's the one who caused the fumble, number 5.
So Dunmore will take over, 1st and 10 for the Bucks from their 19-yard line. And the new quarterback for Dunmore is the aforementioned Dave Olivetti.
And there's going to be a 5-yard penalty against Jeannette for too many players on the field, or illegal substitution.
We have a dead ball, illegal substitution on the defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Ray Ritz can not help but smile on the sideline as they break the huddle with 12. Cost you 5 yards, makes it 1st and 5 now for Dunmore.
We're going to start getting upset with Ray Ritz here soon. It's cold. You don't want those penalties for that, coach. Done a great job today. There's a guy that's happy right now. But redemption from last year. You talk about a heartbreaking loss last year, and this team suffered one of the more heartbreaking losses you ever have in this championship.
28, Mike Enot. Or was that Frank Santasero?
It is indeed for Santasero on the carry. Attendance official now. Great crowd on hand, as we said, 5,911. Great crowd on hand for this AA championship game. And the Bucks keeping the ball on the ground, handing it off that time. It's Tim Sheehan, fullback, into the game, gets the call on the dive play and finds daylight to run through and picks up a Buck first down.
And all kinds of new uniforms coming in for the Jayhawks. Everybody getting a chance to take part in this and say, I played in a state championship game. You never know when you're going to come back to one of these again.
I was just going to say, with about 4.5 minutes on a running clock, this one is already decided, but it's neat to have some significant time for the second and third string players to play on this stage.
Santasero on the carry, on the toss sweep. Pick up a couple yards across the 35, 36-yard line before he's wrapped up.
Official has a flag down on the field.
So I had a chance to talk to Ray Ritz before this football game about what it's been like for him. Ray Ritz is a kind of an old school kind of a football coach, but it's been a circus that has followed this Jayhawk team, and Terrelle Pryor and everybody wanting to get some time
warning on Jeannette
to talk to Terrelle Pryor, the whole recruiting process. It's been a stressful season for Ray Ritz, to say the least.
But I have to think that to have that focus for both you and your kids, that you want to get back here because of what happened last year and because of the quality of your team coming back, you know, that's got to take some of that pressure off, because you do have something to work on every week.
Good job there to surge defensively by the Jayhawks.
And there's the bath.
Oh, That's cool today. And Ray Ritz turns around and says, you know,
you could have waited another 2 or 3 minutes and I'd have been fine with that bet.
I don't think he's that happy about it. He turned around, look at it. He had that look at his face. You talk about old time. That's, yeah, we don't need that.
Well, we saw TJ last night send 2 of their linemen and they kind of whiffed on it. Good move by Jeannette. Send the quarterback to do the wash of the coach.
Yeah, that comes from a 6'6" guy. That's coming downhill from Terrelle Pryor. In the meantime, Dunmore is still trying to pick up some daylight with Centesero getting another carry. Won't get enough to pick up a first down. It will be 4th down now coming up for the Bucks.
Good track tackle there by Trevor Petrillo, a sophomore, 5'7", 190 pounds. Hey. As the revolving door on the sideline continues to go here. And
that's the other part of this Jeannette team. You look at the roster for Jeannette. They've got 62 bodies on the roster. That's a significant increase from the number of players who came to Hershey last year representing Jeannette. A lot of interest in the football program, and you can certainly thank number 11 and the success that they've had.
It's going to be another illegal substitution. 12 guys on the field.
Well, with all the new bodies.
Dead ball, illegal substitution on the defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's mention number 94, though, Trevor Kraft, who is a freshman who was in there for a moment, 5'10". He had to get out of there. He's 145 pounds. You'll probably hear his name in the future. So Trevor says, okay, I'll get out of here. Let's leave with 11.
Centesero, no, Olivetti going to keep it on a quarterback option keep, and he'll pick up the first down on 4th and short. Across the 45-yard line, out 46, maybe 47-yard line for Dave Olivetti.
Well, there you go. Young man getting his autograph there from Trevor Pryor, and you know, just Terrelle Pryor rather. You know, Terrelle Pryor just has a feeling about him. You just think he's such a cool customer. He just seems like a nice kid, having a lot of fun playing football.
And they're all gathered around one of their comrades, Mike Matt, who injured his anterior cruciate ligament in last week's game. Wasn't able to play, but certainly a big part of this Jeannette run to perfection this season.
And he missed last year's game, injured halfway through the season. There is Mike Matt. It's been a tough 2 seasons for Mike Matt. Tore his ACL last year and missed the state championship game. Worked very, very hard in rehabbing and get back to be a part of this year, and gets through 14 games or 15 games before injuring that knee again. So it's been a tough week and change for Mike Matt that he could not play in his state championship game, and his teammates showing some bonding to come over and salute him on the sideline. That's a great job by the Jeannette Jayhawks. In the meantime, the Dunmore Bucks are going to put one more in the end zone on some nifty running and open field running. Matt Hilson, a sophomore, will punch it into the end zone for the Dunmore Bucks.
Matt Hilson, a 5'9", 155-pound fullback, bullying his way through the line and carrying it to the house.
So a great opportunity for the sophomore to score a touchdown in a state championship game, as Matt Hilson, a 5'9", 155 sophomore, moving and sidestepping some tacklers and takes it in for the touchdown.
Tell you what, when you look at this Dunmore lineup for next year, you start to look at some of the skilled people. Delela back next year. You got Miller Holmes back next year. You've got Perry's back next year. You got a lot of these guys on the line back next year. This, you know, we might be looking at a team who's back here playing again this time next year from Dunmore.
Extra point attempt coming up from Sean Dente is up, and it's good. So now 1:24 remain in this AA championship game. All window dressing at this point in time. Jeannette on top and in control at 49-21 as the Bucks have put back-to-back touchdowns on the scoreboard.
Here you see a couple of the Dunmore fans. You know, it's a tough day, but there are better days to come. There have been a lot of better days behind, too, this year. You know, you celebrate a season when you get here. You want to win a state championship in the worst way, but this is a celebration of a body of work. And that's the body of work this year for Dunmore has been unbelievable. Problem is, the body of work for Jeannette has been somewhere way up above unbelievable, and today they brought way up above unbelievable out for display again.
A great show of community support by the folks from Dunmore coming down here. And, you know, as you say, Gary, not a fun time to sit through watching your team get beat like this, but the overall experience of getting on the buses and getting in the cars as a community and having a parade and a pep rally and then coming down here and going back and talking about it and, hey, what about this, what about that? It really is one of the defining moments for a smaller community, same as it is for Jeannette.
Well, and Dunmore, like Jeannette, is a great sports town. I mean, it really is. I mean, these towns have great pride. Let's take a look here maybe for the onside kick, you think?
Jeannette not expecting it as they've got 3 players deep. We'll wait and see. Sean Dente in as the kicker. And he will indeed kick it deep. Fielded at about the 18-yard line.
Look out.
Kicking it outside on the return. Jeannette, I believe that's Jordan Hall on the kick return for the Jayhawks. No, let me correct myself. That's Toddy Harris, number 7, not Jordan Hall, number 2. And a good return by Harris, taking it out across the 30-yard line to about the 40 before he's bumped out of bounds.
But you know, in both the cases of both these teams, very similar communities, what you've seen today is the building of pride. Some young kid is sitting there right now, young person is saying, wow, you know, I want to be that person, or I want to follow in that footstep, or whatever. And, you know, on both sides today, this is where programs get built. This is why you see programs winning 600, 700, 800 games, you know, because you pass this on. You transmit it on to the younger players who can't wait to get their moment.
Tom Pallon now in as the quarterback for Jeannette, and his responsibility in this Jayhawk team is to take a couple of knees and run out the clock. They'll have to take one more snap, and that should pretty well do it. They will not have to take a second. There's Pallon, the sophomore quarterback for the Jeannette Jayhawks. And so Jeannette will take one more snap, and they will take the gold medal back home to Western Pennsylvania. Handoff goes to Sean Fulton, and Fulton will be tripped up in the backfield, and that will do it. The final seconds will tick off, and it took them one full calendar year of waiting, as last year they took home the silver, and in 2007, the PIAA State AA Championship will go to the Jeannette Jayhawks. The final score, Jeannette 49, Dunmore 21. The Jack Hensies, who won a gold medal in 1989 at the Class A level, will now take home the silver medal, as the Bucks will head back to Scranton with silver, and a congratulatory handshake to Ray Ritz, who will take home the gold medal.
Well, you get special performances here in state championships, and today we've seen a number of them here over the years. Today will rank up there with one of the special performances, not only by an individual player, but by a team that was running on all cylinders today, and obviously motivated by the remembrance of last year. A much stronger team this year, a much more polished team this year. Very good team last year. This year, as we said, way, way, way up in unbelievable land against a very good Dunmore team that provided their fans with a wonderful body of work, as we said earlier this season. It was special to watch this today.
16-0 on the season, 15 of the 16 Mercy Rule games. That's record-setting performances in every way, record numbers. You can't help but talk about Jeannette and talk about the numbers they put up, because they are a statistician's nightmare in a lot of ways.
Gary, I think you made a great point that the team is much more polished. They all learned, I think, together what they were capable of doing through a little bit of hard work and some polish on the skills that they had. You know, Pryor is the centerpiece to that, but their line blocking today was outstanding, and defensively they were much better this year than they were last year. But that Pryor kid, 320 total yards, accounted for 4 touchdowns. Hall had 198 total yards, and he accounted for 4 touchdowns. That's kind of that hockey stuff, because a couple guys can have a couple of assists on a couple different goals. But
as we talk about statisticians, I want to thank George Zurich and Travis Sparks for keeping track of all the numbers that they had to keep track of in this day's game.
Absolutely.
They've been doing it all weekend, but today will really test their pens and pencils, because they have to keep track of all the things that they do. And again, Steve, getting back to your point about Jordan Hall, as good as Terrelle Pryor is, Jeannette is as good as they are because of the players like a Jordan Hall. Let's not forget what he accomplished today. He was spectacular in a lot of ways.
Well, and the defense for Jeannette, too. So many times they've gotten overlooked. And the defense for Jeannette, far overshadowed by the gaudy numbers of points hung up at the other side, was up to the task today and played hard. And when they left the game, I had only given up 7 points.
Every team in the state of Pennsylvania wants to play this weekend. And, you know, Dunmore, we see some tears in eyes and we see some shoulders shrugged. But 14-2, outstanding schedule that they played, and really fine team, coaching staff, community. You know, we've had a chance to talk to some of the folks on our way in here today, and it's been neat getting to know this coal region town.
So the Dunmore Bucks will finish their season 14-2, District 2 champions and PIAA Class 2A silver medalists as they hold the silver trophy up. And the Jeannette Jayhawks will finish with a perfect season, 16-0. The Jayhawks win the District 7 championship for the 2nd straight year, and they win the PIAA state championship as well. As they win it in convincing style this afternoon, they'll take home the gold trophy back to Jeannette, Pennsylvania. The final score in this AA contest, the Jeannette Jayhawks 49, the Dunmore Bucks 21. We thank you for tuning in. And again, our work is not done. We still have the Quad A championship coming your way. 5 o'clock is the kickoff time between the Parkland Trojans and the Pittsburgh Central Catholic Vikings. It promises to be a fantastic football game. We're looking forward to it. Hope you'll tune in. 5 o'clock is the kickoff time of the Quad A state championship game. Our producer, Corey Clark, our director, Andy Himmelwright, from my partners, Gary Sutton and Steve Bowen, along with Mike Krause. My name is Bob McCool. Thanks as well to Mike Zambelli and Jim Wills for our halftime show. That's going to do it for our AA coverage. Again, the Jayhawks of Jeannette, the winners, 49-21. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have yourselves a terrific afternoon.